What's up, everybody? I actually have somebody in this studio, so you know that it's not a green screen. It's real. Carrington Harrison, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. First off, before we do this, I want you to tell everybody that it's kind of both of our fault while we're late. You know, because they're going to be blaming me in the chat. I'm looking at the chat right now. They're going to be blaming me for why we was late. It's like a 50-50. Well, I was maybe 5 minutes late, and you was maybe 5 minutes, but I'm happy that we're here.
I was late to my own house. I didn't have the right drink for him. All I had was Tank 7 and water. Tank 7 was too strong. So next time, I got you.
Yeah, I don't want any of that. I mean, I'm not against if you drink a Tank 7, if that's your Boulevard beer of choice. I mean, it's not my Boulevard beer of choice, but if that's what you like, the thing, if the only reason to drink Tank 7 is if you're just trying to get going. That's it. There's no other reason. Like, you're not drinking it for taste. You were drinking it because you have had a bad day and you want to get drunk, or you want to have an amazing day and you want to get drunk. No one casually sips a Tank 7. No one's ever done that before.
It's a good beer to have like after dinner because then you still feel it even after eating. But hey, in case you guys don't know who Carrington is, I feel like most of you do, but he has a show every single day, Monday through Friday, 2 to 6, The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, also on 610. You guys, they merged, right?
Yeah, it's so weird to me to call it 96.5 The Fan. Like, that's where I work, but it was just 610 Sports Radio for so long. So
I know.
I mean, you can still listen on 610 AM. You can listen on 96.5 The Fan. You can listen on the Odyssey app. You can watch it on YouTube. At this point, it's kind of like Colin Cowherd. I never listen to Cowherd on the radio, but I listen to Cowherd just about every day. That's kind of how our show is now.
Well, one of my favorite things about your show is every single week you get an interview with Patrick Mahomes, which is pretty cool. You also do a weekly interview with Mitch Holthus and a bunch of other guests.
Yeah, Mitch comes on Fridays at 4. Patrick comes on. We play it Tuesdays at 3 o'clock. So, yeah, no, those are two big things. Really excited for tomorrow's show. Steve Tasker is going to be on the show. He's the Bills color commentator. He's basically the Danny Hughes for the Bills radio network. He's in the Bills Hall of Fame. Christopher Mad Dog Russo is going to be on the show. He's in the Radio Hall of Fame to talk about Chiefs fatigue. A lot of people have Chiefs fatigue. I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point in this. Nate Taylor is going to be on the show tomorrow as well. He's always on Fridays at 4. And Nick Wright's going to call into the show tomorrow too.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Really excited for tomorrow. Obviously, really big show, really important show. Mitch Holthus came on our show and said that he believes that Sunday is the biggest game in Arrowhead history. So, want to make sure that the game gets the proper treatment on our show.
Yeah, I actually heard him say that, and it got me thinking. I was like, the biggest game in Arrowhead history. Do you agree with that? Do you think this is the biggest, this AFC Championship's the biggest game in Arrowhead history? Or what about the one to get to 54?
You certainly can make the argument that this is the big one. I would argue the Patriots one, the first one, like, your first time is just always going to be different than all the other times. I would say that was probably the biggest game. Just, the Chiefs had went so long without winning a playoff game. They not only won a playoff game, they then got to the AFC Championship game. They're playing the New England Patriots. It was kind of I don't want to say like the Chiefs were like the Commanders that year, but, the Chiefs were the team that didn't have a lot of postseason success, and they're going up against a team that has all the postseason success. So that was the storyline. Maybe the next year, just the pressure of you lost the first year at home to the Patriots. Now you have a home game against the Titans. I mean, nobody knew they were about to go on a dynasty run and go to, 7 of these in a row. But you're thinking, hey, man, this might be the best shot we ever get. Thinking about the Lions. Lions go to the NFC Championship game. You're thinking, oh, well, we'll be back next year. And then you lose in the second round of the postseason. It's not guaranteed for you to play in as many of these. So I maybe argue those two are bigger, but I mean, you definitely can make the argument with everything this game means. You can argue this is the biggest game they've ever had.
I mean, if they win, they're doing something that teams have made it 3 in a row. I mean, the Bills made it 4 in a row and lost all 4.
No team has ever made it to a Super Bowl with this on the line, that they could win 3 straight Super Bowls.
Yeah, which is pretty freaking awesome. And before we get in, because we're going to talk, just so you guys know, we're going to talk just candidly back and forth, answer some super chats and questions from chat. But we're going to talk AFC Championship, we're going to talk NFC Championship, and just kind of our thoughts about the games and how it looks heading into the weekend. But before we did that, I did want to plug what else you got going on, which is a podcast that you've been doing for quite a while now. I don't know how many episodes you got.
57. Look
There
at
we
that.
go.
We have
57 right there.
So this is what we do on the podcast. You got to come on the podcast when football season is over.
Let's do it.
We only watch movies that are rated below a 6.0 on IMDb.
Okay.
We normally try to pick like 90s and 2000s movies, but it has to be rated below a 6.0 on IMDb. This week's movie is The Breakup with Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston. That's actually my favorite rom-com. I love The Breakup. So really excited to do that. We did Rocky V a couple of weeks ago. So I'm happy to talk Chiefs, and I love just watching 2000s movies. I call them like DVD era movies. You remember you'd have that big book of all the DVDs. Remember you go over to somebody's house and they have that big tower. Like you never watch any of these movies, but you were just cool to have a lot of DVDs. So it's a really fun podcast to do. That's I just wanted to promote it. I wanted to tell people to listen to it.
Yeah, that was one thing. Since you were coming on, I wanted to let everybody know about the podcast that's in the description. I also linked it in chat, but it's a link to follow Carrington on X and his podcast is in the description down below. If you're watching this after, it's at the top of the description. With that being said,
let's answer some questions, man. Actually, you know what? Before we, I guess, do this, I'm thinking about this as the lead for the show tomorrow. So this is like me kind of brainstorming what I think the lead is. I think this game is really, really important and maybe equally important for both sides. I think it's going to be really difficult for Pat to make the I'm the greatest quarterback ever argument from a resume standpoint. Maybe like what you've seen. Nobody can argue what you've seen. If you think LeBron's better than Mike based on what you've seen, how can anyone argue, that? I don't think you can argue it. But I think the argument for Jordan over LeBron is more of a resume argument. Is Mike is 6-0 in these games and, all the accolades that come with that. I think that Mahomes' chance of being the greatest quarterback of all time has to be related to you have to do something that Brady didn't do. At this point in his career, everything that Patrick has accomplished, Tom Brady has also accomplished. Now, that's a lot. I'm not making it seem like that's not a lot, but everything that he's done so far. If Pat wins the next 2 games, he will do something that nobody in his class has ever been able to say that they can do. Joe Montana can never say he did this. Tom Brady can never say this. Peyton Manning. So from a legacy building standpoint, if you're Patrick Mahomes, how at the end of your career do you make the argument that you're better than Tom Brady? Having a three-peat is one of those things. The same way that Tom has. I know they didn't finish it. When you go undefeated in the NFL regular season, you were a special, special team. And then for Josh Allen, it's just it's time. Like, if you were thinking about how the history of the NFL works and how really sports works, this is maybe like more of a basketball point than anything, but, you get to the Eastern Conference Finals enough time, eventually you break through and you make it to your first NBA Finals. Like, Giannis kind of had this journey. Jokic kind of had this journey. I think it's kind of the same thing for Josh Allen. You're 28 years old. You've been to the playoffs 6 consecutive years. You've lost to this quarterback 3 straight times in the postseason. Like, yeah, it's kind of time. I mean, Josh Allen had a better regular season than Patrick Mahomes. I know that's not the end-all, be-all, but you could argue Josh Allen was the best quarterback in the NFL this season. Well, the way you prove that you're the best quarterback in the NFL is on Sunday. You are going head-to-head against him in his house with everything on the line. Win. You know? And then, the argument this summer, and Chiefs fans might not want to hear it, but the argument if the Bills win this game and win the Super Bowl is Josh Allen the best player in the NFL? And a lot of people are going to argue, yes. No one's going to debate the resume of Mahomes. He certainly has a better resume. But if the Bills finish this thing out, there are going to be a lot of people that think that the crown has been handed, the torch has been passed, and now it's Josh Allen's NFL, and now you, the Chiefs, got to go back and take it next year and try to get to another Super Bowl.
It's such a good point that you said, too, about the three-peat being something that Tom Brady has never done before, because I feel like what people will always hold over Mahomes is Brady beat Mahomes twice in the playoffs. Yeah. Obviously, it's not a quarterback. Wins and losses aren't a head-to-head quarterback stat directly. Like, they're not on the same field together, or at the same time, rather. But yeah, he beat him in the AFC Championship overtime before the overtime rules got changed. They're different now. But and then Super Bowl 55, that was awful. I try not to even think about that game ever. But yeah, a legitimate case for Mahomes' GOAT status is kind of on the line. Like, we don't know what the next 5, 8, 10 years will play out like. But if he does win 3 in a row, I mean, that's a case you could make as like a legitimate argument. He's been able to do something that has never been done before. And that's kind of impressive. So
I just make this point really quickly, because in the middle you were talking, I was thinking this. The Chiefs have been so good the last 5 years. You just mentioned the fact that the Chiefs went to a Super Bowl and you don't think about it. Think about how much other good stuff had to have. Like, even if you lost, like, oh man, we made the Super Bowl that year, like the Royals in 2014. Like, I still think about the year that they lost in the World Series. Like, the Chiefs have been so good for the last 5 years. You don't even think about that. Like, oh yeah, they lost. Like, no, they got blown out in that Super Bowl. They didn't have really a chance in the second half to win that game. That's how good the last handful of years have been for Kansas City.
Yeah, my editor is a Vikings fan, and he always just talks about how insane it is that what the Chiefs are doing right now, because I don't even know how many playoff wins they have total, but he's like, I think they've won like a few playoff games in his lifetime. The Chiefs won a few playoff games last year. They've won 8 playoff games in a row. Yeah, so, and then, yeah, what you said about Josh Allen, I mean, I think I saw a graphic recently, he had the most playoff wins of any quarterback
without going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I saw that too. He had 77-5 in the postseason. We were talking about this on my show, and I'm curious to kind of get your thoughts on this. I think there's only 3, I would say, quarterbacks that you trust in the postseason. Obviously, Patrick is one of them. We've seen it a million times. Patrick is obviously in that class, and he's not just like, he's like historically in that class. He's like in the Joe Montana, Tom Brady. I would say that Joe Burrow has kind of proven that at this point. Like, you can't go on the road and have the postseason wins that they have, and then you don't trust that quarterback. The other one I think is Josh Allen, and why I think this matchup is so intriguing is most of the times the Chiefs just go into these games with an overwhelming quarterback advantage. They have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. You have Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. You lose. Like, what are we doing here? Like, there's nothing really to debate. But I think what has made this so fun is, let's say Pat throws for 270 yards. Then Josh Allen plays really well in this game, that those two guys kind of cancel each other out a little bit, and it comes down to some other things, like it comes down to Tyler Bass missing a kick. It comes down to Stephon Diggs dropping a catch wide open in the middle of the field. Like, it kind of comes down to those things. Like, I think these two teams are pretty even.
Yeah.
If you're picking Buffalo to win this game, I certainly understand why you would pick Buffalo to win this game. If you're picking Kansas City, I certainly can understand, but I think you at least go into it with the expectation, and I think it's different than most Chiefs playoff games, is I expect both quarterbacks to play well. I didn't know if that was going to be the case last year when the Chiefs played the Ravens. Like, you can't go into a postseason game thinking Lamar is going to have a crazy day. He hasn't had many of those in his career. So, like, that's where I think Josh Allen has put himself pretty clearly in that number 2 role as the second best quarterback in the league. I mean, he has 23 touchdown passes and 4 interceptions in the postseason. Like, he's been great in these games. And can he be great today? Like, I always make this argument. Like, there's like a couple of like tests, and it's like based on how you feel. Like, if the Chiefs have to kick a 42-yard field goal, you feel pretty confident they're going to make it because of Harrison Butker. If you have a certain closer, you feel really good that he's going to get 3 outs. If this game is 28-24 with a minute 50 to go and the team has the ball that has 2 timeouts, both teams are 100% certain they're about to score.
Yeah.
That ain't the case for a lot of teams in the National Football League, man. Like, we watch these games. If you got a 28-24 game, your quarterback is about to throw a pick. Your quarterback is about to get a turnover on downs. You might not even get to midfield. So, like, that's where I think this game is like a true heavyweight matchup, because both teams feel that way, where we know it's going to be a close game, and you just want your team to have the ball last with a chance to go win.
I have a lot of respect for Josh Allen. I think my one knock on him over the years has just been, he has showed up in the big moments, but he always has like that 1 play, 2 plays a game where it's like, what on earth were you thinking? Who are you looking at? Where are you throwing to? It's the interceptions.
Yeah.
Leads the league in turnovers, I think since 2018. But this year, 6 interceptions, 2 fumbles, fewest turnovers on offense in the NFL. That's what the Bills have. The highest turnover differential in the NFL with a plus 24. The second place team is at 16, and then everybody, like the other 3 below that, are at 12. So it's almost double every other team. And that's where I have a lot of respect for Allen, especially this year. I feel like they traded away Diggs. He doesn't feel like he has to force it to Diggs anymore, and he's just making smart, calculated plays to whoever. I mean, that's no knock to really anybody on that team, but who on there is like the guy that you're like, I'm terrified of? I mean, Shakir's great in his role. Kincaid, Knox, great in their role. Amari Cooper, I guess. Who's the guy they signed as a free agent before?
Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, Curtis Samuel. Yeah. And then you've got Keon Coleman. But, like, I feel like that was the Chiefs after they traded away Tyreek.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like, who's on the team? Well, I don't know, but they're making it work, and they led the number 2 scoring offense on the year.
Yeah, one thing that I like about Buffalo's team and why I was like kind of critical of them a couple years ago, like if you go back and you can pull it up, the box score from the 2022, the 13-second game is, and Josh Allen had to do everything. He had to lead the team in rushing, and you got to throw for 300 yards and be nearly perfect in order to win. That in this game, you don't need Josh Allen to rush for 80 yards and score 2 touchdowns on the ground. I mean, if he does, the Bills are winning that game because he plays really well, but this is the first Bills team I think they've had during this run where Josh Allen can run for 35 yards and they can still win because James Cook has a pretty good day, or Ray Davis or Ty Johnson. Like, I just think they're better equipped to maybe win this game than I think they've been in years past because you're not asking Josh Allen to do everything. I looked this up. In that 22-second or the 13-second game, I think Buffalo ran like 51 plays, and Josh Allen either threw it or ran it on 42 of those plays. Like, you're just asking your quarterback to do too much. And if your quarterback has to do all those things, that's kind of where the turnovers come from. I feel like I got to make a play, or I'm going to get hit when I'm running, and now that's going to be a one of those big plays. So I feel like they've maybe given him more help and they've spaced it out a little bit. That's kind of helped him kind of compartmentalize those turnovers. Neither one of these teams turn it over. Chiefs haven't turned it over, in 8 games? And Josh Allen has 6 interceptions. I think I saw a stat. Buffalo has 8 turnovers in their last 19 games. Like, I mean, that's a substantial thing. Like, a turnover in this game is gold. If you can force a tip ball or force a fumble the way that they did with Mark Andrews, I mean, that's the difference in winning and losing.
No, 100%. We dropped a preview video on the channel a couple hours ago, and that was like kind of the thing I harped on for a little while. If the Chiefs want to win this game, you can't turn the ball over. Mm-mm. And it's their play style too. Yeah, you don't have to rely on Josh to put on his cape all the time. He can do it. He is the X factor. But they'll just kind of grind you to death. Long, sustaining drives. They are 8th in time of possession, about 30 minutes and it was 34 seconds. The Chiefs are 10 minutes in average time of possession on the season, 30 minutes and 30 seconds. Both of these teams, if they get the ball, with them both being so good on third down, they'll grind you long, sustaining drives, and you don't get a lot of them. So that's what I feel like is a big key in this one is, like, if you turn the ball over, it might be a wrap. Like, just think about the Week 11 game. Now, they both had a turnover in the first half, both turned into a touchdown, but Mahomes did that on the second play of their opening drive.
That was the last time Mahomes threw a pick. Was in that Buffalo game,
Yeah. Well, and then the second one was at the end of the game. It was like a prayer to Kelce on 4th and 13. But when he threw that pick, the Bills turned that into a touchdown, and then the Chiefs are pretty much playing catch-up the rest of the game. Now, they took the lead twice. Tyler Bass missed an extra point. That's the only reason why they took the lead twice by 1. And then they kicked a field goal before half, scored a touchdown, and then the Chiefs were just playing catch-up the entire rest of the game. And so, yeah, I agree with you. I think Mahomes continuing to protect the ball like he's done over the last 8 games, like that, if the Chiefs want to win, I feel like that's crucial.
Yeah, I mean, we saw in the divisional round, I mean, in all 4 games, if you won the turnover differential, you won the game, even though the 4 losing teams outgained them. It's a little bit quirky because Houston didn't have a turnover, but to me, if you go for it on 4th down from the middle of the field and you get sacked, like you turn the ball over. You didn't throw an interception, you didn't fumble. Like, it is called a turnover on down, so I think the stat's kind of quirky in that regard. This was actually the lead of our show today is think about how much football you watch this year, all of those things. Like, the Chiefs' chances in all of these AFC championship games have really come down to one play. D Ford in the first one, the long run from Patrick Mahomes in the other one, knocking the ball out last year with Zay Flowers, the penalty in the second Bengals one where he got pushed out of bounds and now you put them in field goal range. In the first Bengals game where the Chiefs don't get the points right before half and Tyreek Hill, like, this game, like, we can do all this talking. This game's going to come down to there's going to be one play, and you will know when that play happens. Bills have a 14-play drive, and now it's 3rd and goal, and you got to score a touchdown here. They don't get a touchdown here. They kick a field goal. The Chiefs win by 4 points, and you're thinking that was the difference in the game. So who makes that one play? Who either makes the one play or who avoids the mistake is going to win this game.
This wasn't the AFC Championship, but last year in Buffalo, the divisional, I thought that one play was McCole Hardman's fumble.
Yeah.
1 yard line, you're going up 10 with 12 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. He fumbles, touchback, Bills ball. I was like, that's the play.
Yeah,
right there. And it didn't end up being.
100%. And I mean, and that's where the Chiefs are. That's where the Chiefs, to me, are so much better than every other team. Like, New England, I think their advantage was, I mean, it might have been cheating, but like, it felt like during that time that New England knew the rules better than your team knew the rules. Remember that game against the Ravens where they found that play with Julian Edelman and they just ran it basically all the way down the field? And Harbaugh's like, no, that's a legal thing. You don't know that we can do this. We're going to do this all the way down the field. Where I think the advantage with Kansas City is Kansas City just handles adversity better than everybody else. Like, I make this analogy about life. Like, things are just going to go wrong in your life. Like, man, you're just doing good, and all of a sudden something happens to your car. Well, how are you going to figure it out? Like, you still got to get to work. Where, like, in a football game, you're going to have a holding call from Jawan Taylor. Somebody's going to drop a pass. Something's going to happen over the game. And I think what you saw last week with Houston was waiting for the officials to do one thing that wasn't favorable. And then that one thing happened that wasn't favorable, and they were going to complain about it the rest of the day. Oh, that's what happened. And the Chiefs, those things happen to Kansas City. But if you notice it, like the play that everybody is getting mad about where Mahomes, DJ Jazzy Jeff flops on the sideline, go back and watch that play. Mahomes, he's inbounds. He flopped. There's nobody's denying that. He is inbounds. He gets pushed. They don't call the foul. Mahomes just gets up and runs back to the huddle. Like, okay, hey, I tried to get a foul. You guys didn't give it to me. Okay, I'm just going to go back out there. Like, I just think Kansas City has such an advantage in that regard is a fumble's going to happen from McCole Hardman. All right, hey, let's pick it up. We're good. Remember in the Super Bowl, whenever they got the bad snap from Creed Humphrey and Rashee Rice is mad because he's open in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And Mahomes is clearly telling him, hey, I couldn't see you. Hey, now's not the time to be doing this. We need to figure out what we're going to do in overtime. So that's where I think the Chiefs have the advantages. They just deal with these things better than everybody else.
Mahomes said he rolled the ball to me, mother.
Yeah.
That's what he said to Rashee on the sideline.
He did roll the ball.
He rolled the ball to me. It was a lip reading I saw after the game. He rolled the ball to me, mother. I was like, oh, crazy. Because, Rice was like, dude, I was open. It's like, well, when they roll it to you, I mean, what are you supposed to do?
He also wasn't the first read on that play. He was clearly going to go to Kelce on that play because Kelce was having a good day. But that is the thing. But I mean that the Chiefs are one of those teams like last year. They haven't really had this year of like there would be those moments of frustration, and then they would just get over it. Like think about in that game. That was when Kelce has the blow up with Reed on the sideline. Rashee Rice has the thing with and it's just like, hey, it's football. Like, we're going to be in these high-stress situations. It's going to happen. We're going to address it as a team, and then we're going to move on. So, like, that's what I mean. Like, they're just really, really good at taking the adversity of things that happen in the game and just pushing forward.
And that's why I think we don't need to go down, like, a big rabbit trail on it because it's an exhausting conversation about the refs. But if you just watch a game without the Chiefs bias or the ref bias when you hate watch a Chiefs game, you see it every game. Bad call after bad call, missed call. No matter what team's on the field, it's like, okay, this officiating crew is pretty inconsistent. And that's like that in every game. But what you said, the Chiefs, they don't blink. If something goes that doesn't go their way, they just find a way to overcome it. They're like cool and calm under pressure. And I just feel like that's such a key to the Chiefs and how they operate. They've been in these situations before. Oh, no problem. Holding penalty. Okay, we'll figure that out or try. And they don't freak out about it. Now, obviously, Mahomes did freak out about one. The offsides on Kadarius Toney, but
he was wrong. I mean, there's no question about it. He was wrong. And I think at least for like the Mahomes, like, oh man, like he hasn't done a lot of things wrong, I would say, in his public image. I mean, that was the thing. I mean, I don't want to make it seem like the Chiefs like get the benefit of the whistle, but I mean, some of the 50-50 calls that happen in a game have gone their way. Sometimes you're going to get some of those calls. Sometimes you're not going to get those calls. And it's funny because those calls just seem to happen at the same time. But like the Chiefs have been screwed during this run. I mean, I remember there was one game, I can't remember when it was, where Chris Jones tackled Derek Carr and he got flagged for a penalty because he put like too much, like he put his body weight on. I'm thinking, Well, that's how you tackle. What are we talking about here? They lost that game to the Colts whenever Matt Ryan was there because of the officiating. So I mean, that's just football. We had Mike Pereira on the show Monday, and I agree with them that I think for the most part, I think we have a problem with instant replay where we want to stop everything, go back and rewatch it and watch it in super slow motion. That I don't really think that's how sports is supposed to be. And I would say that like we just have an obsession in sports with we got to get every single call right. You're just not going to get every single call right. Like I just don't know why like somehow we think that instant replay was created to make sports perfect. We're never going to argue about a call. We're never going to get things wrong. And if the call gets wrong from the refs, we can just go back and rewatch it. No. I remember in the the first AFC Championship game, remember where they called the ball where Julian Edelman tried to pick it up? And I thought it kind of grazed off his finger, and we weren't sure if it grazed. And they stopped it. If you show me something in super slow motion and you show it to me 30 times, you can convince me anything happened in that scenario. It touched it. He didn't touch it. So I think a lot of that is we just watch sports in ways that I don't really think it was intended to be seen.
I saw a funny tweet today that people were commenting on. It was a post about the Patriots winning a game in 2018, and the comments were just littered with refs, bailed out, cheaters. I was like, wow, that is literally what is still happening to this day
100%.
About a different team. You know what's funny to me? And some people are asking this is live. Yes, this is live. I'm saving some of your questions. We're going to address them.
Yeah, no, we're going to go through your questions. I'm here for a while. We're hanging out.
Yeah, we got some super chats. Football analysis. I don't know if you're still in here. He's got a big YouTube channel covering the NFL. I saw your question too. But yeah, one thing that I thought when we were talking about things going from one dynasty to the other, it's just a small rabbit trail, but do you ever notice that all the Patriots players are the ones speaking highly of the Chiefs? Do you ever notice that?
Because they know it's hard.
Dude, all of them, they're like, I think I saw Gronk. I think it was Gronk predicting the Chiefs to win.
Yeah.
In the wild card round or the divisional round, the Chiefs are on Tom Brady's power rankings at number 1. Mm-hmm. Like, I just feel like all these guys know what it takes and they just respect greatness so much. Meanwhile, everybody else is just trying to tear down the greatness that is happening before their eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I have a saying that complaining about the refs, that is the free space of loser bingo. One thing that has been kind of frustrating about this Chiefs run is, when was the last time that the Chiefs beat somebody and the tone from the other team was, hey, you guys are just better than us today. Like, you guys beat us. And I don't think Houston played well enough to beat Kansas City. No. You can't miss 2 field goals and miss an extra point. You can't give up 8 sacks and then at the end of the game be like, oh, well, we lost because of the refs. No, that's not how this works in any capacity. And I think people's frustration is more with the way that we call things for quarterback more than anything. I just think that the rules are broken when it comes to roughing the passer and how we protect quarterbacks. The first call, I don't really have any problem with Will Anderson. I guess I do have a problem. I guess I'll rephrase it. I don't like that that's a penalty because I think there's a certain measure of physicality that football should have. But the NFL has told us now for 15 years, you cannot do that. Like, we do not want you to hit quarterbacks in that way. Yeah, we don't want you to hit them in that way. So that's just a penalty. I don't have a problem with that being called. The second penalty, I do understand where defensive players are coming from, where I do think Mahomes is like doing all of this behind the offensive lineman and then just falls to the ground. Well, like, no, you shouldn't be able to do that. That's why I've been advocating. I think they should eliminate quarterback slides. You should not be able to give yourself up feet first because it creates this weird gray area that quarterbacks have where you're waiting to the last second to slide. No, once you pass the line of scrimmage, you should have to do the same things that everybody else does, especially as the position has gotten more mobile, like more quarterbacks. Yeah. You don't got to just be Lamar Jackson, but like Patrick takes off and runs. Josh, like these guys are now, like, them running is a part of your offense as a team. So I'm perfectly fine with those guys having protection inside the pocket, right? Like, I get that. You want to protect your quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But man, once you decide to take off and be a running back and try to juke and spin and do all those things, you got to either get out of bounds the way that running backs do. You either need to get down to the ground head first the way the wide receivers do. Like we see that happen. The wide receiver, he makes a catch, there's 3 guys around, he just falls to the ground, gives himself up. I think the rules of the NFL would be better if they just eliminated feet first slides. Once you pass the line of scrimmage, you need to act like them. Or if you don't want to run, throw the ball out of bounds. Like, hey, you don't want to get hit. All right, cool. Throw it out of bounds and we can continue playing. So that would be one of my fixes to the league.
That's kind of a hot topic. That's an interesting one. Probably won't go down it fully, but I do think changes are coming. I don't know what the league's going to do. I mean, people are trying to talk about, I don't know how you find flopping. I don't know how you do that with quarterbacks. Like
the Mahomes one's crazy though. We could have done the Mahomes.
I saw that. I was reacting to the game here. I do that for every game, and I just laughed out loud. I was like, you can't do. I was like, Mahomes, that ain't gonna work, bro.
Mahomes, he fell on that play like his shoes were tied together. Like he just was like, oh, he just fell. And I'm just like, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing?
And what's funny is like everyone was so pissed about that, and they didn't flag it. So it's like they didn't flag it. I understand like if they would have thrown the flag, everybody's in an uproar.
100%.
But like people saying the face of the league, this is the lasting image you have of this game is Mahomes flopping. I'm like, I think the lasting image I have is C.J. Stroud getting sacked 8 times and their special teams unit blowing 10 points. From a blocked field goal, a missed field goal, a missed extra point, letting Nico Remigio go 63 yards. That puts the Chiefs in field goal range. You can't win a game like that. And then the 2 calls that you just talked about, the third down call that where Mahomes got hit high, that did move the chains, and the Chiefs turned that into a field goal. Mm-hmm. But the one where he got hit when he slid, it was going to be 2nd and 6. If that didn't get called, which I would have been fine with if they didn't call that, how do you know the Chiefs don't still score on that drive? So you're actually throwing a fit over 3 points when the special teams unit blew 10 of them.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I know it's not like a series. Like, it's not like the NBA. The Chiefs would sweep the Texans if it was the NBA. Like, they would beat them every time. If the Chiefs and the Texans played 100 times, maybe the Texans win 5 times. Yeah. I just don't really see many scenarios in which that team with that offensive line beats Kansas City. I don't see it. Houston's a good team.
Defense is good.
Yeah, Houston's a good team, and maybe in one of those games they force a turnover. I just don't see many scenarios in which that Houston Texas team. So I feel like people clearly have like a message, right? Their message is we're tired of Kansas City winning all the time and we're tired of them getting all the calls. Houston ain't the team to make that argument. Maybe it happens. maybe it happens against Buffalo, right? Maybe there's another controversial call and then this conversation can pick back up. But a team that scored 1 offensive touchdown, they are not the cause I would be carrying in this.
No. And I'm so glad we're past that game. I remember I researched those 2 calls and I was like, wow. So it was really just 3 points is what people are actually freaking out about. Like, I understand the Chiefs scored a touchdown on that second drive, but like it was 2nd and 6, dude. They could have still very well scored a touchdown. But, you know, it's just one dynasty to the next. People are going to do whatever they can to discredit and hate on greatness. Meanwhile, the Chiefs are heading to their 7th AFC championship in a row. Football Analysis had this question, and you can piggyback on what I just said, but then his question right into to go back to the AFC championship game, and then would love to go NFC a little bit too, even though that's the first game. He said, how confident are you with this game versus the other 3 playoff games against the Bills? So the AFC championship game in 2020, then the 13-second game, then last year's game. Where's your confidence level out of them? Does it matter because it's a new year?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say 50-50. I mean, I think they're pretty even. I don't know if I said this already or not. I think Buffalo is the best team they've played at home during this stretch. I think it's the best team that they played. I actually think last year's Niners team was the best team they've played during this entire. I think that Niners team was actually really, really good. I'd probably rank it that Niners team from last year, that Eagles team from the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
that team was really, really good.
They were good.
I'd probably rank it Niners 1, Eagles 2, this Buffalo Bills team 3 in terms of the teams that they've played. That Patriots team that year, that team was fine, but like you kind of knew that they were kind of at the end of it. Gronk was a little bit older. Brady was at the end of his career. I think you kind of knew that. This Buffalo team, I think, is really, really good. This Buffalo team they have a good offensive line. They have the second best quarterback in the league. They take the football away. I mean, they have 36 takeaways this year. They're plus 24 in turnover differentials. Like they take the ball away. I think this Buffalo team is Kansas City's equal in a lot of ways, and that's what makes this matchup so fun.
Yeah, I feel like the one area that the Chiefs might have an advantage, and they're going to have to absolutely exploit it if they want to win this game, is going to be the wide receiver room against the banged up secondary. Like maybe Benford clears concussion protocol. He's limited 2 days in a row. But then you've got Taylor Rapp trending towards not practicing. And then who was the guy that went from he was a full participant and was limited? Taron Johnson.
Oh yeah, I haven't even looked
shoulder.
at Buffalo's injury report.
But Taron Johnson with the shoulder, that's 3 people in their secondary. And their passing defense is already probably the weak link, I would say, of their entire team. But like the offense is great. They're still well coached and they've been able to win a lot of games. But their defense, like at times, like they gave up 40 plus to the Rams.
Their defense seems very boomer bust. Like I don't know if you guys play the college football video game. I'm sure a lot of you do play the game. It's kind of like how the college football video game is. It's really hard to get a stop on there. Like it's just really hard to like force a punt on that game. But your stops are usually like turnovers. Like you got to try to like be hyper aggressive and try to get interceptions on that game in order to get off the field. I kind of think that's what Buffalo is. Like Buffalo's third down rate, like getting off the field is actually like pretty bad. They're not good at it. But Buffalo, I think they know that. So they're really aggressive in either trying to get interceptions or trying to force fumbles. I think I saw this stat. They forced... It was like 20 interceptions to the Chiefs had like 6 interceptions this year, and they forced like 14 or 16 fumbles this year. Like you force 16 fumbles in 17, like you force a fumble a game. That's not random. Like that is you are trying to take the football away from people. So I mean that's obviously a form of a stop, but that's where I think this game, we mentioned it earlier, is going to be won or losses. Can the Chiefs avoid that turnover? Yeah. If this game is played 0 in the turnover differential, I think that's a game that Kansas City wins. Like if this is a straight up game, the healthier team with the better quarterback at home, that team wins the game if it's played clean. But it's also football. Like there are turnovers that happen in this game. There are a big turnover. There is a drop. There is that misplay. And that's where, the variance comes into play.
Last time, week 11, Kelce had 2 catches for 8 yards. Playoff Kelce is a different beast. He averages 9-ish catches for 70, 80 yards and a 1.7 touchdowns over the last 3 times they've played in the playoffs, these 2 teams.
Do you think that Houston knew that Travis Kelce was playing in the game? Because they didn't defend him like they knew he was playing.
That's what I don't get. Like, I think Mahomes was shell-shocked. He just stopped targeting his wide receivers. Hollywood Brown had no yards. He almost caught that deep ball, but then Kelce
brought a really good throw from Patrick.
It was perfect.
That
was insane.
It's funny because like that's one of those plays that like if they make it, we talk about. And I'm sure you had it on your on your platform. Is there was like that like 6-week stretch we were talking so much about down the field deep balls with Mahomes. Like what's wrong with the accuracy? Yeah. Like that's one of the best throws that he made all season. Like he put it right on the numbers, and a drop happened. Just football happened in that play. But no, that was one of the like what if plays. That was one of the better plays the Chiefs have made this season. That was an incredible throw.
It was I couldn't believe it. But I was laughing at I listened to your show when you were talking about Travis Kelce and like how on earth the Texans forget he exists.
Bro, it just didn't make any sense. I saw it was one of those like advanced analytics or whatever that on that big catch in the second quarter, the closest defender was 9.8 yards away.
That's like insane.
Just think about how far that is. Like I don't know how big this room is.
That's bigger than this room.
If we just got it, think about that.
That's bigger than this room.
There's nobody in any of these areas.
Not even close.
Not anywhere. How does that happen?
Yeah,
there's not anybody in this area around Travis Kelce. Like, in what world would you be thinking, we got to take away Juju Smith-Schuster. We got to take away Hollywood Brown. We got to take away DeAndre Hopkins, and we'll let Travis Kelce beat us. It was like Houston was cool, like in a basketball analogy, to let Travis score 50 and then stop everybody else. That's not how you beat Kansas City. Like, have you ever seen the Chiefs play in a postseason? The Chiefs didn't have any other player go over 50 yards from scrimmage. No. Travis Kelce had 117 yards and a touchdown. Like, what are y'all doing?
So, do you think the Bills will... Surely he's not 2 catches for 8 yards in this game.
No,
like
he'll
week
have,
11.
I just...
Where do you think he'll land?
I maybe this is just a video game player in me that I just don't get. I'll make another analogy. You know how like on there, you'll get the linebacker and like you'll just control that one player as like a user.
Yeah.
If I was the other team in the playoffs, you are on Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
I don't care what else you do. Don't leave Travis Kelce. Don't help anybody else. We're going to play a football version of a boxing one. We're going to have you, Matt Milano, on him. Wherever he goes, you go. You're not running zone. You're not doing any of those things. Because, like, where I think Kelce is still really, really good at, I don't think Kelce's running past anybody. I don't think Kelce is creating that separation. But if you run a zone, he is just going to find the soft spot. Like, I don't even know if it's like a design play. It's like he runs to an area and then looks around, and then Mahomes knows exactly where he's going to be. And he just figures out a way to do it. The fact that he's been doing that for as long as he's been doing it, what's like 14 straight games with at least 70 yards.
In the playoffs, yeah.
Just go heading into this game, pencil in 5 catches for 70 yards. Like I don't know. That's the only way to come to the conclusion with Travis Kelce. He's been that good.
Hollywood Brown did not play week 11. Do you like that? The addition. So I was going over the injury report just briefly to share, like, they are banged up in the secondary. Combine that with the fact that you got playoff Kelce, but then they didn't have Hollywood Brown week 11, so you have him and Worthy now running around. I mean, where do you kind of see? I just see that that's a big path to victory for me, is if the offense can really take advantage of that and put up around 27, 30 points. I think you can win it.
Yeah, I would say that the Chiefs are in kind of a similar spot from last year. That I would say, excuse me, I'm going into this game. There's 3 players I feel pretty confident in offensively. I think they're going to make the shift to Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
And we could talk more about that.
Yeah.
But, like, if there's 20 carries to give out, I just stop giving them to Isaiah Pacheco. He has 1 carry over 10 yards since he's come back. Like, he is not the same running back. He might be the same running back in August and September. He is not that same running back right now. So Kareem Hunt, if they give Kareem Hunt 15 carries, he has a decent day. He ain't running for 100 yards on those 15 carries. He's not breaking a 40-yard run.
No.
But you give Kareem Hunt the ball 15 times, he gets 61 yards. That's fine, right? That's not a great day. You had a good day. I feel pretty confident in that. Xavier Worthy has been pretty consistent the last 8 weeks or so. Again, he's probably not going to have 100 yards, but Xavier Worthy will have 70 yards receiving in this game. Obviously, Travis Kelce is a player that you can rely on, so but now it's who's like one of the other guys who's going to be a big help there, and that's where I just think they just have more guys than they did last year. There wasn't really anybody else in that offense that you thought could get you 50 yards in a game like this. Maybe Justin Watson would have one of those big catches, but that was kind of it. You weren't trusting anybody else in there, where you could tell me anything could happen. You could tell me that Hollywood Brown has 60 yards, I believe you. You could tell me Hollywood doesn't have a catch, I would believe you. You could tell me Juju has 40 yards in this game. You could tell me Juju doesn't play because he's injured. That would make sense to me. Same thing with D-Hop. I mean, D-Hop has 1 game over 40 yards in the last 9 games. Like, I kind of expected, like, I kind of lost money on the divisional round because I'm thinking, man, he's at 31.5 over under. He's coming off a bye week. You know, a lot of time to rest up. They're playing his old team, playoff game at home. You know, I thought DeAndre Hopkins was going to have a really good day. I bet him first touchdown. I was in on the DeAndre Hopkins thing. That man cost me money.
They asked him at his presser this week if he was healthy.
He was like, I'm good.
Yeah, he's like, I'm good. And then it was like awkward silence, and then they just like moved on.
Yeah. It's funny. So I'll tell you, I guess, a behind the scenes, quick story. So anytime, it doesn't happen a lot, but like if Mahomes can't come on the show for whatever reason,
yeah,
they'll like offer me somebody else.
Okay.
And then it always comes with like a caveat.
Okay.
Because like you can't just be like, oh, well, then give me Travis. Like, no, Travis ain't coming on your local radio show. That ain't really how it works. So if you can't get Mahomes, they always say there's like 4, you're not getting them. Chris Jones isn't coming on the show. Kelce's not coming on the show, and D-Hop. And then I hear those press conferences. I'm like, oh, yeah, I get it. I don't think he'd be a good radio interview. I don't think D-Hop would be, I don't think he'd be good. So that's how we started getting Trent McDuffie, because
nice.
They started doing the little blackout thing. I like Trent McDuffie. I think they're going to pay him this offseason.
Yeah.
I think they kind of have to.
He's got to be up there on the list. I mean, that's a whole nother convo of like who you let go, Trey Smith, Nick Bolton. There's a couple questions before if we go bounce that direction about
I'm sitting here. I actually kind of want that Tank 7 now.
We could probably get it. Danny would bring it, I bet. Did you hear what Nick Wright said about why people hate on the Chiefs so much?
He's coming on the show tomorrow.
Because he's the youngest to do it. I don't know if I fully understand that question. Nick Wright said people
Unless you're talking about Pat, probably.
hate on the Chiefs so much because he's the youngest to do it.
I didn't hear it. I'll ask him tomorrow, though. He's coming on.
Yeah, ask
5
him tomorrow
o'clock.
because he's coming on the show. I mean, what you've seen Mahomes do in his career, I did a short in the offseason comparing the first 7 years of Brady as a starter to Mahomes.
Yeah.
That made people furious, Patriots fans in particular. But yeah, I mean, greatest trajectory of a starter in NFL history, and it's not. I mean, it's close to like Brady's close, but it's not that close.
You know, one time what you got to do to really make people mad, and if you follow me on Twitter, you know I used to do this on my Twitter account, was I used to love doing like blind tests where I would like, here's player A or quarterback A, and I'd put their stats and then the other player and then make people pick which one it was. And
Ooh,
man,
I like that.
When they would see the stats of, you know, because then like you would pick A and they'd be like, oh, this is so obvious. But like A or B would like usually be like a player you would hate, and then like the other one would be a player on the Chiefs. I used to do that all the time with Sammy Watkins, and I'm telling you, people used to get so mad when I would do that. They used to get some. I used to do that with. I remember one time I did that with like Julian Edelman, and I did it with Sammy Watkins, and I'm telling you,
They didn't like that.
People used to get so mad, and I quit doing them. I got to bring them back.
Yeah, that's a good idea, especially with the blind test. So, okay. I don't know. This is a little bit switch of a gear. Oh, biggest X factor in this game for you fellas for Chiefs Bills. I mean, I feel like we talked about it, and that's turnovers, not having any.
Oh, I was thinking he meant player wise.
Well, you can go player. We can go player wise on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, cool. For Buffalo, then Dalton Kincaid. If you would say like name 5 things the Chiefs are not good at, the Chiefs just. The other team always has one big play from a tight end. Like, it happens all the time. They always have one big play. The Tank 7's here.
Let's go. Thank you.
I'm only going to have this one. I'm not having multiple.
Here, I got you. Yeah, we can't have multiple.
I'm going to stay here with you if I have multiple.
I got you. X factor on both sides?
Oh, yeah. Dalton Kincaid's going to be my one for Buffalo.
Casey, down.
For the Chiefs. It's crazy to say this.
Dalton Kincaid, okay.
DeAndre Hopkins is the X factor for this game. Again, like
for you?
For me, yes.
Okay.
He had 7 yards against the Steelers. He didn't have a catch against the Houston Texans. In the last month of actual days, he has 7 yards receiving. He's an X factor at this point, 100%. Yeah, I'm gonna go DeAndre Hopkins is an X factor. Yeah, and then I'm gonna go Dalton Kincaid.
What about defense though? For where would you go? X factor.
I think for Buffalo, it sounds crazy. I think their X factor is DeMar Hamlin. He's just
okay.
He went from a player that we never talked about to now it's like, who got that interception? Oh, it's DeMar Hamlin. Who forced that fumble? It's DeMar. I mean, he's forced 2 turnovers this postseason. He got the interception against the Bills and he forced the fumble against the Ravens. So yeah, DeMar Hamlin on defense. For the Chiefs,
that's crazy.
I don't know if he counts as an X factor. George Karlaftis, I think, is just one of those players.
Yeah.
He's just been incredible in the postseason in the last 2 years. So yeah, I'll go George Karlaftis on defense, and I'll go DeMar Hamlin for the Bills.
Okay. I might go Jalen Watson.
Goodness.
That's strong, I know. I might go Jalen Watson for the Chiefs, not because I think he's necessarily going to do a bunch of incredible, crazy things, but you don't need that with Jalen Watson. You just need to cover your man. Because last time these two teams played, whoever Trent McDuffie was not guarding,
was
Josh
cooking.
Allen just threw F-it balls.
Was cooking.
And they came down with that ball like every single time. So I think Jalen Watson, like, I don't know if they'll actually do this, but that could allow McDuffie to trail Shakir if they want to. Like he had 7 or 8 catches for 80 yards week 11. So it's like, I think I like Jalen Watson. And then who shadowed Kelce? Do you remember? Week 11, their linebacker. I don't know if it was Bernard, but he might be the X factor for me on their defense just because, yeah, he was a part of the reason why Kelce had 2 catches for 8 yards. I'm not saying that Kelce's going to be completely throttled again because I just don't think it's going to happen in the playoffs, but that's where I would go. Offense, I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to go Hollywood Brown. He wasn't there last week.
It's kind of like the D-Hop pick.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with Hollywood as like just another guy that's getting open with his speed. And then for the Bills, X Factor? Is an X Factor, in your opinion, like the non-obvious choice?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I just want to say Josh Allen. Because I feel like he will be the X Factor when there is no other X Factor. You cover it right, no problem. You're pressuring him, about to sack him down, no problem. He'll break, contain, and leap over your safety for a first down.
Yeah, I would say that Josh Allen, I think Mahomes is in that same point. Like, I'm not going to make it seem like they play defense all the time in the NBA because there certainly is like an effort issue at times. But sometimes it is, those guys are just so talented that you can play great defense and Kevin Durant is 7'1", he's just going to shoot over you, you know? That I feel like Josh Allen is kind of that same way, that he, like, their wide receiver class, like their room is, it's not super strong. Like he doesn't have a first,
really.
He doesn't have a Jamar Chase, doesn't have a T. Higgins. He doesn't really have those guys. And just in the run game, he just is such a difference. I think one thing that has kind of helped Buffalo, maybe just over time, is I think it was really big for them to beat the Chiefs in the regular season the way that they did. That I think maybe a couple years ago they would have kicked a field goal and just went up 8 in that game. But this time it's like all right, we got Kansas City down here. Maybe it doesn't work, right? Maybe you get stopped there, you miss it, a bad snap, anything can happen. But we got to take this chance here to beat the Chiefs. And I think what you see all the time, and this kind of happened over the course of the year, is you can't play 58 good minutes against the Chiefs. Because in those 2 minutes that you don't play well, they're going to beat you. You know what I mean? Like, the Chiefs lost 4 or 5 games this year, but you got to play from the opening whistle to the final whistle. And I think that Buffalo finally learned that. We got Kansas City down right here. We have to go for it. We have to. And to your point about Josh Allen, man, 4th and 2, I'm not throwing it.
No.
I'm not handing it off. We're going to win the game because I think I'm the best quarterback in the world. And, you know, that's how they won. We've seen the Chiefs win those same games, you know, too. Just, I'm going to figure out a way to get us down the field. So I wouldn't consider Josh Allen to be an X factor, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, that, and just thinking about that 4th down again, that was the most Josh Allen thing I've ever seen, yet the Chiefs defense acted surprised when he ran it and took it in himself. You don't put a spy on him. Like, they didn't expect him to run? Like, yeah, they had it covered. They ran a man-beater play. Chiefs played zone, fooled them, but no spy. Josh Allen, 26 yards for a touchdown. Okay, which is pretty insane. This is related. This is not in order of what we're getting these in, but Doc with the 5, I appreciate you. He said, we need to cover the shallow crosser, jam wide receivers on the line, and muddy the middle, force Josh to throw contested deep balls. I don't feel like that's how they're built. Their offense is built, but
I don't know if the Chiefs got the secondary to do that kind of stuff too.
But the middle of the field's kind of a concern. CJ Stroud was like 7 for 8 for like 100 yards. At some point in the game in the middle of the field. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if they have, again, I'm not the coach, but if they have McDuffie maybe kick inside and cover Shakir, that's helpful, but then you still have 2 tight ends. Mm-hmm. That's why you said Kincaid might be their X factor on that side of the ball.
I saw somebody had a question. Loud phone Sean. I'll answer his question. He asked me, I think you'll like this story. What's my favorite memory from working with Nick? Did I tell you my Todd Haley story? Have I told you the story before?
No, but for context, you used to work with Nick Wright.
Yeah.
When he was in Kansas City radio.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll tell you
give us the story.
I'll tell you my Todd Haley story.
Okay.
So I think this was like my 2nd week as an intern, and I was like doing a good job, and they were starting to trust me with more stuff. And they were like, "We need you to go out to Arrowhead and get the sound."
Okay.
I'd never been not as like in that capacity before. It's my first time going out there.
Yeah.
So they get me set up with the credential. Very simple. I just got to take a recorder, set it up there, record the audio, take my computer, put the audio in there, send it back so they can play it for the show. You know,
it's for like a presser, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I end up going out there. I walk in this real tiny room. The Chiefs weren't good, so it's like it wasn't even where the main room is now. There's like this little other room in there. There's maybe like 5 people in there. It's like me, Blair Kirkhoff, Karen Kornacki. It's like, it's the Todd Haley Chiefs. It's the summer too, so it's not really a whole lot going on. So Todd Haley starts talking, press conferences go. He then starts asking questions. I'm like 19, I think, maybe 20. So I'm doing exactly what they told me to do. So everybody asked a question. I'm the only one that didn't ask a question. Todd Haley looks at me at the end and had like you got anything? I looked at him, I was like, I just went like that. He was like, well, all right. He just like walked out of there. That's what I said. I was like, I'm not about to mess this up. No. Yeah, no, that was like my second week when I was an intern.
You got anything?
That's what I said. That's my Todd Haley story.
Dude, second week as an intern, Todd Haley's asking if you got any questions for him. Oh, I love that.
I didn't have no questions.
He said, Sean, same thing. It's Loud Phone Sean.
Yeah, shout out to Loud Phone Sean.
How much impact do you think Watson has in his second game back from injury? So that's Jalen Watson.
I think he has a lot of impact. We used to do this. We used to call it the Eric Warfield Award, where if you were the worst corner on the team, we would give you the award. And then I think it was Chiefs Concerns, their podcast. They got real mad at me for calling it that. So I was like, you know what? There's a better way that I can communicate this. I can just say the same thing, but I don't have to call it Eric Warfield.
Do you know why they got mad at you?
I don't know.
Eric Warfield's one of the co-hosts.
Yeah.
He's one of the co-hosts.
Oh, that's what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. So they got real mad at me for it.
Oh no.
I'm not that do you know who I am guy, but then it was like a who's Carrington. I was like, we were just DMing about me coming like, why you don't know who I am? It was just really weird. So whatever. So I just determined, you know what? I'm not gonna call it the Eric Warfield Award. So we officially changed it, and now we call it the Barbecue Chicken Award. Chicken. Yeah, Barbecue Chicken Alert.
I heard that one.
And we gave that to Najee Johnson.
I heard it.
We gave it to Najee. So I'm confident in Jalen Watson to answer the question. I'm confident because I don't want Najee Johnson around anymore. I feel like, and I don't know if your chat's the same way, but like Chiefs Twitter, they will just like a player, and then it takes forever to get them.
Flip
you
of
guys
a switch. It's done.
I'm telling you, it's funny. It's like
it's done.
All the Chiefs fans will like a player, and then there will become that moment. That kind of is what happened to Isaiah Pacheco. You remember last year, and I know you guys remember this. You remember they were asking Isaiah Pacheco about the memes. Remember they were like, people were like, Isaiah Pacheco runs like a bad kid.
Yeah, we want more of that.
They were doing all of this. Now it's like, he was never good. Oh, he has bad vision. I'm like, wait, just last year, you guys loved Isaiah Pacheco. Chiefs fans, y'all real trendy when it comes to that stuff. I'm for real. Y'all real trendy when it comes to that. But so like there's just certain guys like that. Jody Fortson was one of those guys for the Chiefs. Twitter held out for Jody Fortson for 3 years. They love Jody Fortson. DeRuse Fountain. Remember DeRuse Fountain? Oh my God, it was so sick.
Justin Ross. That's a good one.
Oh, Justin Ross.
That's a good one.
Golly, Justin Ross. That summer of slow motion camp videos from Justin Ross was an incredible time. Oh my goodness, you guys were telling some immaculate lies during that period.
I just think for some of these guys, you can't help but root for an underdog story. So Jody Fortson bouncing back from multiple injuries. Justin Ross with his.
I don't think that's what it is. I don't think that's it.
No?
I think there's like 10 players on the Chiefs that we talk about, right?
Yeah. Like
everybody has the same opinion about those guys.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks the same thing about Travis Kelce or Patrick Mahomes or whatever. So I think it's kind of like you listen to an album and now you want to have like a favorite, like, oh, I know this was the single, but this is really my favorite song. People do that with Chiefs players. Remember, people were getting excited about Luis Rees-Zammit earlier.
Yeah, LRZ, baby. LRZ.
Y'all were getting excited about Luis Rees. Oh man, he can help in special teams. You do not never play football and then help the defending Super Bowl champion. That is not how football works. Like, oh, he can do this. He can do this. No.
Yeah, that was an interesting one in the offseason.
I'm telling you, we could make a whole team of shoulda, coulda, woulda Chiefs players. A whole team. Najee Johnson is on that team.
I've had Najee on the channel twice. I feel like before his ACL, like he was great as a gunner, special teams. They kind of threw him to the wolves this year. And yeah, he struggled. Like, there's no doubt about it. You know what I was confused about, though? You feel like Joshua Williams, when they kind of rotated him in, was a little bit better?
Yeah, at times.
Okay, so the snap count of last game, Joshua Williams had no snaps.
Yeah.
I don't. We're going to go down the rabbit hole of the cornerback room. I just don't
I'm
get
happy
it.
we can go down any rabbit hole you want to go down.
I just don't get it.
Because at this point, it's not about feelings anymore. Like, this has been my point about Isaiah Pacheco. I feel the same way about Pacheco that everybody feels. I guess the old Pacheco. I know people now are kind of sour on Pacheco.
He's just not healthy yet.
Next year, if he's their number one running back, great. Now, I want them to draft a running back.
Yeah,
Pacheco's going to be in his last year of his contract. Maybe you don't re-sign him. Like, especially with, I mean, there's 15 capable running backs that are in this upcoming draft. The Chiefs should draft a running back. But that has nothing to do with Sunday. On Sunday, there is the most they're going to run the balls 25 times. Like, I don't see us, I mean, unless they're winning, I don't see a scenario in which the Chiefs run it 32 times. Like, if this team goes out, they're going out because Mahomes is slanging it. He's throwing it all around the field. So if you know they got 25 carries, you cannot give Isaiah Pacheco 15 right now. Like, you can't be watching the same player that I'm watching right now. Like, I just don't see it anymore. There was a certain pop and explosiveness. Again, he has one run over 10 yards since he's come back from the injury. Like, he used to at least, like, the big difference between him and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is Clyde would always get you 4 yards. He was never going to get you 9 yards. He might get you -2 yards. He was going to get you 4 yards. That's kind of what Isaiah Pacheco has turned into right now. Yeah. Now, with the offseason, maybe he has another surgery. He gets that explosiveness back next year. Hey, I'm happy with Isaiah Pacheco being part of it. But if you only got 17 carries to divvy out for Sunday's game, I'm giving Kareem Hunt 13 of them, man. Like,
I'm in the same camp, yeah.
In those 13 carries, he is not breaking one. But in those 13 carries, he gets you 55 yards. I don't think Isaiah Pacheco gets you 55 yards if you give him 13 carries right now. I just haven't seen any reason to think he's doing that.
Yeah, I think the vision of Kareem Hunt's clearly better, and he's now rested. Like, you got to think, when they signed Kareem to the roster, off the couch, no preseason, no training camp, literally just started going. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw that story about the KC Star about Kareem Hunt, but he said the next day after that first game with the Chiefs, he couldn't get out of bed. He was so sore. So he's playing catch up this whole time with the playbook, but then just trying to get healthy. And he has all that rest. I felt like he was clearly the better back. I mean, he was averaging 5.5 yards per carry last game. I mean, that's pretty good.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. I got another guy on that Chiefs list, Marcus Kemp.
Yeah.
Marcus Kemp was on that list too for a while. You remember people were having theories that, like, Dave Tope got one pick and he was keeping Marcus Kemp around.
I mean, I feel like, I don't know how high that conspiracy theory really goes, but like Tope does have some influence for special teams.
And Kemp was fine. Yeah, Kemp was fine. Yeah. But like Byron Pringle, I think, was too good to be on this list. Like, Byron Pringle actually had one decent season with the Chiefs where he had like 500 yards receiving. Like, that was kind of it, just that 1 year where they didn't really have a whole lot of other options. But yeah, there's a whole lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas. I remember this offseason, I was saying, hey, Mahomes kind of gets banged up from time to time. The Chiefs should go get a veteran quarterback. At that time, I kind of wanted them to go get Sam Darnold. I didn't know Sam Darnold was going to be MVP of the league the way he was this year, but, I wanted them to get the Sam Darnold. They ended up getting Carson Wentz, perfectly fine. I remember going back and people, well, they got Shane Buechele. I don't care if they got him on the team. No. If Mahomes get a high ankle sprain, you know who I don't want coming in the game? Shane Buechele.
I remember when I saw the comments, they were pretty loud about it last year. Even some this year, when Wentz played, it was like, put in Chris O. He's been in the system longer. I was like, listen, I promise you, as soon as Chris O comes in this game, you're going to regret that. And it was the same with like, who was it last year? Blaine Gabbert. I mean, they were kind of just like, Shane should make it over Gabbert. I mean, they clearly didn't think so, and then Shane went to the Bills.
The Chiefs need, like most teams need, you need an experienced veteran. If something goes wrong, like, this is my qualification for a backup quarterback. If you lose your quarterback for a month, is it possible for you to go 2-2? Because if you go 2-2, that doesn't derail your season.
No.
You can still make the playoffs. You can still win your division. You got to at least have a quarterback that can go 2-2. You ain't going 2-2 with Chris O as your, no. You ain't going 500 in a month. I don't care what 4 teams you put together in the league. You ain't doing that. So
I'm thankful they didn't need Carson Wentz at all this year.
No.
I mean, week 18, I don't know how to read that with everybody resting, but
they offered us Carson Wentz for the last game, and I was like, you know what? I'm fine. I'm okay.
You said no?
I'm okay. Because you know how it was, like, it was obvious that Pat wasn't going to play.
Yeah.
And it was the holidays. I knew they were. I was like, you know what? I'm fine. You know what? We don't need to talk to Carson Wentz. I don't even know what to talk to him about. I'm going to be honest with you, because I can be honest on your show.
Yeah, go ahead.
I watched maybe 7 minutes of that Broncos game. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I was watching that weekend. I'll never forget. I was watching Squid Game. It was snowing. I watched a couple episodes of Squid Game, and the Chiefs game was on. Like, get ready. I bet on the Chiefs. I was like, because the Chiefs usually don't get blown out in those scenarios. They normally keep it close. Last year they kept it close.
Yeah.
I'll put a little bit. I didn't put that much on it, but all right, cool, whatever. So I ended up doing that. It was obvious that the Chiefs had no interest in being there.
It was so bad.
And I was thinking, well, if they don't want to be here, then I don't want to be here. I'm not watching this nonsense. I know this game doesn't matter. So I finished Squid Game season 2. I watched the entire season that day because of the Chiefs getting blown out by the Broncos. I'm telling you, I watched maybe 9 minutes. I was like, bro, what are the Chiefs doing right now? I wasn't watching it.
They were scared of the Bengals, brother.
That's what they were. I did watch all of Sunday Night Football. I watched that, but no, I wasn't. Week 18 was not for me this year. I gave it a go.
Somebody said Cole's so red. I get red when I laugh, man. Every time I laugh, if I yell, my face turns red. I don't know. It's just the Irishman in me. So that happens every time. Yeah, man. I had to stream that game. I didn't have to, but I was streaming the game, and I'm not just going to end the stream during the Broncos game, but it was ugly. I was like, yeah.
You a better man than me.
I was like, yeah.
I love football with my whole heart. This is maybe where I'm different than other people. I love football. I don't love bad football. And I feel like America will watch football over anything.
Oh, yeah.
If it's a blowout, if it's bad, bro, you know what? These streaming services cost too much money for me to be watching bad football over what's on Netflix. Netflix is $25 right now. I will find a crime documentary. I'm going to watch a crime either way. I'm going to watch you get your ass whooped or I'm going to watch this crime documentary. I'm not watching blowouts. I'm not doing it. I don't have any interest. And once I'm one of those, I'll tell you another story. We'll get back to football. I'll tell you another story. So we had it was some auction or whatever. I can't remember what it was. And this group, they paid money to watch a Royals game with me and Danny. I forget, they paid like $600 or whatever. Like 4 tickets. They were good tickets, like right behind third base. And in typical Royals fashion, they were playing the A's. The A's was beating their ass. It was bad. It was like 9-0 after the third inning. And I looked at that man. I was like, bro, I'll give you $100 for us to be able to go. I don't want to sit here anymore. I don't want to do it. And they're like, and Danny was like, come on, they paid. And I was like, they paid to hang out with us. They didn't pay for us. I was like, the Royals game is over. The Royals game, let's go do anything else. So we stayed for the 5th inning, and then we went to go eat afterwards. And I was like, dang. I was like, I don't want to hang out with you. I don't have it in me to just sit here and watch the Chiefs. Like, you probably watch, it'll be the 3rd preseason game and you're watching the second half. I'm not watching that nonsense. You're watching that?
I'll watch it, yeah.
I can't do it.
I got to study the roster. Who's going to, everybody's getting cut in the 3rd game, second half.
Anybody playing in that game, I don't need to watch. I don't need to watch that. No, I'm not watching it. I'm not doing it. You're better than me, and that's fine. You're better than me. Some of you like to go have outdoor picnics in 10-degree weather. You call it tailgating. I'm not eating outside. I don't have any interest in going outside or have a picnic, right? Can you imagine if your wife right now was be like, hey, babe, let's have a picnic? You would look at her like she was crazy. But you're not look at, babe, I can't. Some of you are getting ready for an outdoor picnic. That's crazy to me. I can't do it. I don't have any interest in doing that.
I can't believe people who showed up to the Dolphins game last year. The -50 game or whatever, negative 30 wind chill.
Man, people.
That's crazy.
That was one of those games, and I'm sure people in the chat, people that you hadn't talked to in years were asking you, hey, you want to go to the game? Why do you want me to go to this Chiefs game? You obviously don't want what's best for me. you don't want what's best for me if you want me to go to that. No, thank you. No. I don't want to go to this game because I think it's going to be cold.
Yeah, it's going to be cold. I mean, it's going to be at 30, but
life's about knowing your strengths and weaknesses. It's what it's about. Life's about, and I know my weaknesses. Once I get cold, I'm just not a fun person to be around. Like my hands get cold, my feet get cold. It's not fun and enjoyable. And this is where the NFL, it's really their problem. They've made watching games at home so good.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good.
It's lovely.
Oh, my goodness. It's amazing. It really is just amazing. I love watching games at home. I haven't been to a Chiefs game in 5 years.
5 years?
The last Chiefs game I went to was the Texans comeback. It was the last game I went to.
Okay, that's a good one.
I got offered tickets for the Houston game. I was like, no, I'm okay. I'm all right. I'll watch it at home. No. I love going to college football games. No, I can't do it, man. I can't do it. Some of you are better than me, and I can acknowledge that.
So we got a couple people that are fans of the show, your radio show. Flip, my man, Carrington Harrison. Hope you and Cole are down for a couple hour hangout. I'm late, but I'm a big fan of your work. Listened to you for years on 610. He then sent another 10 bomb.
Oh, thanks, man.
Carrington, could you do me a big favor? Can you please repeat your whole speech about being a real Chiefs fan?
Oh, yeah. I can't remember everything I said.
Whole speech?
I'll give you like the See, this is the thing. So I'll even shout out my guy, Brian B. Shinan. He, so I used to go over his house sometimes and just watch him play Madden. And we would just sit there and talk about life and stuff. And he's been playing, he will only play with the Chiefs on Madden.
Okay.
Only play with the Chiefs. Through thick and thin. Pre-Mahomes, with Mahomes, he'll only play with the Chiefs. So now I see him whenever, he plays people online. Like, oh, he's playing the Chiefs because they're the best team in the game. Like, no, that's my favorite team. That some of the people listening, they really been through thick and thin. Like, you watched Andy Studebaker. You watched Tyler Thigpen. You really believe that Alex Smith could be a difference maker, you know? Andy Studebaker, Kavika Mitchell, Tony Moeaki. You know, that's our era of being a Chiefs fan.
I remember I was born in 91, so when I really started paying attention to football, it was like late 90s, early thousands. So I think Trent Green was somewhere right in there.
Yeah.
Was when I first started, but yeah, it got dark there for a little bit. I went to the Titans game where this isn't that long ago, but it was before Mahomes.
Oh, the Mariota where he caught his own pass.
I was in the end zone. I was right there.
That's when that game had the worst call I'd ever seen.
The forward progress?
I've never seen. It's the worst call I've ever seen in my entire life.
He wasn't even. Yeah, he got blown up.
I've never seen. I'm not joking.
You want to talk about refs?
I'm not
the
joking.
worst call. That and the Chris Jones one.
I'm not joking.
The slap of Chris Jones onto Tom Brady's chest piece.
That was a bad one too.
Oh, dude.
Oh, I actually want to answer this question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Someone says, "What are your thoughts about the Chiefs not having a Super Bowl party or parade?"
Oh, yeah. You've talked about this a little bit.
I hate it. I really, really hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it for a couple of different reasons. I got the first reason why I hate it is I look at those events as community events where it doesn't matter what part of the city you live in, doesn't matter how much money you make. It is a celebration of us as a community. You come downtown, you get to be with people from all walks of life, and you celebrate the fact that the team won the championship. Like, that is what we do as a society. And I think that's really important to keep that. And I think the second part is, like, not to get super political, is just gun violence is just a part of our society. And that's like a really unfortunate thing to say, but if you let gun violence stop you from doing something, what would you be able to do? Like, somebody went to a music festival and just randomly shot a bunch of people. Someone's walking to a grocery store. Someone shot up a movie theater. Like, you just wouldn't be able to live your life.
Sure.
I'm not saying, be careless or whatever, but I think at this point, the problem is so big that just like you have to make the decision for you and your family if that's what you want to do and if you want to go, and just you inherit the risk of you're around a lot of people. There's no way for you to kind of control and govern all of those people.
Right.
And I also hate the fact that if they end up taking away the rally part, it'll just be for people like me. Like, that's not what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be, I work in the media, I know the media people, they'll give me a credential. Like, that's not what that's supposed to be. Like, It's supposed to be for everybody, but we all know that's how it be. Or if they turn it to a ticketed event, people will then scalp the tickets for the rally. Like that's not what it's supposed to be. So I hate it. I don't have any interest in it. Just keep it how it is. Beef up security, pay a little bit more to make sure, like, you're never going to make things 100% safe, but I really just hate the idea that, because if they do the rally the way I think they're going to do it, it will be an event for just the elites and the media. And that's just not what I think any part of what the championship celebration should be for any city.
Yeah, I think what's fun about any of the parades, when the Royals won, and then obviously the few when the Chiefs won, dude, I was seeing people I went to high school with. Like, we were all just there, vibing as a city, as Chiefs fans. I mean, I was at the parade when all that happened, but I was far enough away. Like, I didn't really know what was going on. I was already like leaving.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's super tragic. But yeah, I don't. Just what you said. I kind of agree. Like, I don't see how you can just shut that down in the future. Is every city going to shut down?
Yeah, I mean,
you mentioned the event that happened. It's tragic, but the New Orleans situation.
Yeah.
Like, are they never going to have people out at Mardi Gras?
Yeah, no,
again?
they're definitely going to have Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
I love New Orleans too. I don't know if you've been before, but New Orleans is incredible, man.
I have not, but
it's incredible.
Where's the Super Bowl at?
It's in New Orleans this year.
Yeah,
it's in New Orleans. Yeah,
you might have to go.
I actually told myself, people are gonna. I don't know if this is like a bad thing. I've had a chance to go to 3 of the Super Bowls, and I've passed on all of them. I got offered tickets for the Eagles one. It was just one though, and I just was like, I don't want to go by myself, so I didn't go. I actually wanted to go to the last one in Las Vegas. Like, when I got back on the plane to come home, I was like, man, why am I not staying? Like, I actually want to go to the game. I just got so comfortable. Like, I watch so much football at home that, like, you just get comfortable with, like, where you watch things.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I want to watch, like, with my friends, and if they win, I want to celebrate. And I told myself, if they win this game and they go, I will try to go to this Super Bowl. Like, I want to say I went to one, before, you never know how many times they're going to go back. You think they're going to keep going back, but, you never know. But if they go to this one, I will try to go to the Super Bowl. I love New Orleans. I want to say I went to one, so I'm going to try.
Dude, fantastic. I need to go, but I look at ticket prices.
I could have went to the Miami one, too. I didn't have any interest in going to the Miami one.
Super Bowl 55? Or?
Yeah,
okay,
the first one. The one they beat the Niners, the first one.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were out
55
there,
was Tampa.
We were out there for Super Bowl week.
Yeah.
And they asked us who wanted to stay. And, like, all of us couldn't stay, but, like, 4 of us had to, like, volunteer to come home. And I was, like, the first person, like, hey, we were there for 6 days. I'm ready to come home. I don't regret not going to that one, but, like, it would have been, if they won that one, it would have been cool. But, yeah, I do want to go to this one if they go. I do want to go.
Well, I hope they make it again because if you go, the reason why, I mean, you could watch a three-peat for the first time ever. History that we will tell our grandkids, great-grandkids when we're in our 80s. Back in the day, back in my day,
yeah,
we saw Patrick Mahomes win a three-peat. So that's a hope. This is like kind of right field or left field. I don't know the phrase, but NFC Championship. I know.
I'm taking the Eagles. I think the Eagles are
going to
win.
Eagles?
Picking them for a couple different reasons. The first reason is, maybe I'm the wrong person to listen to because I have picked against the Commanders in the first 2 rounds. I picked Tampa at home, and I picked the Lions last week.
I did too. I mean, those are upsets.
I'm going to be real curious to see how the Commanders' offense looks now in the winter, where they played the one game in Tampa, warm. They played in a dome, climate controlled. This is going to be like a very different beast for them. I'm really curious to see what that looks like.
Okay.
And, I mean, if you can't stop Saquon Barkley, then you just don't really have a chance of beating the Eagles. And I don't really know if Washington's kind of equipped defensively to be able to slow Saquon down. I think it's a grind-it-out kind of game. It feels like a 23-14, low-scoring kind of game, but I do like Philadelphia to win. I think they win. I think they're going to Super Bowl.
I mean, they played each other twice this year, and he's averaged like 150 yards and 2 touchdowns each game. He's had over like 300 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns in the 2 games against the Commanders. Somebody did say, though, what if Jaden Daniels won? They said, would you have him as a top 2 QB? I don't know about all that.
It was funny. So,
top 2?
We did this thing on my show a couple of days ago where I ranked the 5 quarterbacks in the NFC, and my producer Rob did, and we compared them. I put Jaden at 2.
Okay.
I put it behind. I had Matthew Stafford at 1.
Yeah.
This is how I was ranking it. Tomorrow, if I had a game and I had to win, and I'd take one quarterback in the NFC, what quarterback would I pick to win that game? I would pick Matthew Stafford. Like tomorrow, if Patrick Mahomes couldn't play and you were like, hey, you got to grab somebody, like a ringer, I would pick Matthew Stafford. So that was why I picked him. I had Jaden 2, Brock Purdy at 3. I had Baker at 4, and Jared Goff at 5. That was my top 5. And I had Dak as my 6 as my honorable mention.
Where'd you say Jaden Daniels was?
I had him at 2.
Oh, at 2. Okay.
At 2. Yeah. I had him
okay.
at 2.
No, okay. But then, okay, so top 2 in the NFC, you could have him. I'm thinking over there, top 2.
Yeah, I'm not
top
taking
2 in
him.
the NFL.
I
I'm like,
don't think he'd
way.
be. I don't think he'd be top. How many quarterbacks in the AFC would I take over Jaden Daniels? I mean, both quarterbacks in this game. I take Lamar over him. Take Joe Burrow over him.
Yeah, that's tough. But
I still really like C.J. Stroud. I feel like.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like what is happening, and it's no disrespect to Jaden Daniels. This is kind of all the love that we showered on C.J. Stroud last year. He's not the flavor of the month anymore. Like we've all now kind of moved on to somebody else. I'm still very high on C.J. Stroud. I'm still very much a C.J. Stroud believer. So I would put C.J. over him. I think then you start to kind of get in that, you could definitely argue he's a top 10 quarterback. Top 2, I think, is a little bit too high.
Yeah, I mean, he's having a great year, and no rookie quarterback has ever made it to a Super Bowl as a starter. So, like, if he does that, he's up there. But I really would like to see how he does next year. I mean,
yeah,
when you see all these rookie quarterbacks, and not a lot of them do great, but when they do great, it's like, okay, well, when they have a year of film on them, how do they look? I don't even know if it was all just film on Stroud. That O-line was awful, and they had a bunch of injuries that they had to deal with. Nico was out for a while. Mixon missed a couple games. Diggs on IR. So I actually like Stroud. I think he's a pretty good guy in general, but he's a pretty good quarterback. But that interior O-line, that was awful this year. It was so bad.
I know we're looking ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
There's no scenario I see Washington beating Kansas City in the Super Bowl.
If those two teams
not a single. There's no other than at any given Sunday. There's no scenario that you are going to tell me that Pat watches that defense for 2 weeks, Andy watches that defense, and Spags will be watching Jaden Daniels from when he was at Arizona State. There's no scenario in a neutral site with a completely healthy Chiefs team that I think that Washington can beat them. I think Philadelphia could beat them. I don't see any. There's no scenario I'd pick the Commanders to beat the Chiefs.
I'm pretty convinced that whoever wins this game, Bills Chiefs, wins the Super Bowl.
I don't know. Bills and Eagles.
You think the Eagles could take them?
Yeah. I would bet the Bills, and I would try to get them early because I think Bills probably open up at 1.5, maybe Bills minus 2.5. But yeah, Philadelphia could definitely beat the Eagles. Or not the Eagles, the Bills. Philadelphia could definitely beat the Bills.
Even if I took the Bills, I think it would be close. I see a path that they could do it, but someone's got to stop Saquon, dude. I don't know what you're supposed to do. Like, Hurts doesn't even have to do that much. No disrespect to Hurts. He's playing through an injured knee right now. But, like,
he's not really playing that well.
A.J. Brown is on the bench reading a book.
He was reading a book.
He's reading a book. Like,
he was reading a book.
Saquon's doing it all, which is insane. So
he was reading. That was crazy.
Who do you actually have winning? Like, if you were, maybe you did put money on it, but who do you actually have winning Chiefs-Bills?
I think the Chiefs are going to win.
Okay.
The reason I'm picking the Chiefs to win this game is over the last 5 years, we haven't seen many teams beat a fully healthy Kansas City Chiefs team. Like if we really went and we looked and dissected how the Chiefs lost, it's usually like a critical player missing or like they don't have all of it together. Like last year in the second half, like the wide receiver room's not figured out. We're still figuring things out. There's not a single team in the league that I would pick to beat Kansas City when they are fully healthy like they are now. The Chiefs we looked this up today on the show. From week 1 of the NFL season, so the game against the Ravens, out of their 22 starters, 21 of them are available for this game. Every player that played on defense in that game is available for this game. That's not the case for every team in the league.
Right.
Like, look at the Lions. Like, every player that played in week 1 is not playing in the Commanders game.
No.
So that's it, too. I also think the Chiefs are a different team than the first time these teams played each other. Jaden Daniels didn't play in that game. Hollywood wasn't there back yet. No Charles Omenihu. And that's where I think the biggest difference is. I think the Chiefs win this game because their defensive line is significantly better than it was the last time. I don't think the Chiefs were prepared to match the physicality from the last time these two teams played each other. That now you've got Omenihu, and he's opened things up for everybody. Karlaftis is better when he's there. Chris Jones is better at pass rushing than he was the last time that these two teams played each other. I think that's the difference in this game. So I'm taking Kansas City 27-24. I do think it's close. I think it's a tightly contested game. I just trust the Chiefs a little bit more, and mostly because of their defense. I trust the Chiefs a little bit more than I trust Buffalo heading into this game.
I'm chuckling because I heard it and I wasn't going to say anything, but people in chat are saying Jaden Daniels plays for the Chiefs. He meant Jalen Watson, guys.
Oh, my bad. Jalen Watson, my bad.
It made me chuckle, but yeah, no, that's actually the same exact score prediction. It's already out on YouTube. 27-24 Chiefs is what I said. And I just think what you kind of hinted at it to me. The return of Watson, Jalen Watson, and Omenihu is so big on the defense, but then having Hollywood Brown and just a cohesive offense, you're really figuring things out. You do have Butker back. You didn't have him last game. I don't even know if you would have trusted Spencer Schrader to kick a field goal. He made all 3 extra points. Yeah. What do you think about the left tackle situation? I saw some people talking about this a little bit. I am just assuming because they went Tooney Caliendo against the Texans, that's the left side of your 5 for the rest of the playoffs.
They also didn't have that for the Bills game, too. I think that's pretty important.
And Wanye was left.
That wasn't their offensive line then.
But do you think, is that who they roll in this one? Joe Tooney and Caliendo? They're not going to use Humphreys?
No, they're not doing anything different.
No Humphreys. DJ Humphreys.
Yeah, I think what happened was Humphreys was they had a plan, right? They had a plan. And the plan changed, right? We want to do this, an injury happens, and now we have to kind of change course. I think this is the right decision. It's not a perfect plan by any means. It is a short-term fix. Everybody acknowledges that. It is a short-term fix. But it never made sense to me how you would have the Chiefs play their best football the final month of the season, no question, against the Browns, Texans, and Steelers. It never made sense to me to have one offensive line for all of those games, and then the first game of the postseason, let's do something different. No, don't do something different. Why would you do anything different than what you were just doing? So another point in this game is I wonder if the Chiefs are going to start a little faster than they did the last time. I know people didn't want to have the conversation about rest versus rust in the game back from Houston, but for the first, up until that big Travis Kelce catch, the Chiefs look like a team that hadn't played football in 3 weeks.
Yeah, it took them a minute.
They look like a team that had, because football's different than baseball, it's different than basketball. You can simulate playing basketball. You can get the 5 best players on this team. You guys can go out and have a real competitive run. Yeah, it's not the NBA, but we've all played pickup. You can have intense pickup basketball. You can play baseball in a way that simulate it and get you. There's no simulating playing football.
No.
I don't care how much you practice. You have to play football to be better at it. So it never made sense when you're playing your best football that you could stop playing it for 3.5 weeks and then come back and be that's just not how this thing works. So I'm really expecting the Chiefs to come out in the first 15 plays and just have more energy than they did the last time. And for the first, 2 possessions, just look a lot crisper and sharp than it did the last time.
I'm chuckling because when that offense saw Nico Remigio taking that kick return down the field, they're probably all right, score, please. He gets tackled inside the 15. And I just know Mahomes is going out there oh, God. Because it's been 23 days and they're instantly in the red zone. So it's just we were hoping to be able to warm up and get 5, 7, 8 plays. Then we're in the red zone and we're humming. Well, I didn't get that chance. So he played it clean. They got a field goal, whatever. But yeah, I like it. I mean, my prediction is right there, 27-24. The defense obviously has to get some stops on Allen and company. If not, I don't know if you could win a shootout into the 30s. I mean, with this Chiefs team, maybe you can. The offense, I won't put it past them, but that's not normally their formula for winning games.
Yeah, I think Buffalo's more likely to score 30 than Kansas City. If you were telling me this game was 31-21, I actually think that game's probably I think Buffalo wins that game more than Kansas City wins that game. Like, I don't know. I don't know how many like Kansas City offensive players can have like that monster day. Like,
right.
I'd be surprised if Kareem Hunt ran for 100 yards. I'd be surprised if DeAndre Hopkins had 100 yards. Like, it's kind of those kind of things. Like, I don't know how many of those guys can have those days. So, like, I think it's really hard to kind of score 30, 35 points unless guys are just going to have big, massive days. I'm just not really sure how many of those guys they have on their offense. Like, that's why I think, like, this game's a 27-24, 24-21, 21-7. It's one of those kind of games between these two teams.
Well, also, yeah, just because how their offenses operate, Buffalo does the same thing. We talked about it. Just long drives, calculated drives. They kind of grind it away. They're not doing a bunch of explosive plays. They're just taking a lot of time off the clock, 7 to 10 minutes a drive. And you only have a handful of, you don't have a lot of drives when you're doing that. That's obviously they're not going to go downfield every drive like that, but sometimes they'll go 3-4 plays and punt. But yeah, you have limited opportunities in this game. That's why I just don't see it being super high scoring personally. Okay, couple things real quick. Since we're talking about this game, X Factor for Doc Holliday with a 2, thank you. He said Harrison Butker and Justin Watson. Justin Watson gonna make one of them deep catches?
Yeah, I can see that.
With the banged up secondary?
I can see that.
Happen. Harrison Butker? I hope he doesn't have to be the X Factor because I just feel like that means the Chiefs are settling for 3 in the red zone. So
yeah, that's kind of who they are. Like,
I know.
I don't want them to be that way, but that's just definitely kind of how they are.
All right, Les one mentioned how red I got when the Chiefs blocked that field goal from at the end of the Broncos game. I went insane, dude. I was down here screaming. I was throwing stuff.
It was so I'll tell you a story about that game. Yeah. So my half brother, he is a big Broncos fan. So we came over for the game.
Oh no.
And it was so funny. I told him what was gonna happen. It was like the middle of the third quarter. I was like, man, the Chiefs are gonna win on like some weird block field goal or something. It was just like, it was one of those like off cuff, you're like sitting there with your boys like talking football, like watching the game or whatever. And when it happened, he was like, how'd you know? And I'm like, bro, because I watched the Chiefs. Like,
How did you know?
I watched the Chiefs. The Chiefs are they're just weird. You guys might remember, I remember Denny Matthews said this. I might find this tomorrow. This actually just popped in my head. It was when the Royals in 2014, and he said, something like, when it's your year, or one of those kind of like quotes or comments or whatever. And it does just kind of feel that way for the Chiefs. Like you mentioned it earlier, we've never seen a team have this opportunity that the Chiefs have, like not once, right? We've never seen a team with
made
this
it to the
chance.
Super Bowl.
It kind of feels like if any team is going to three-peat,
This one.
it's this team, right? Chiefs are fully healthy at home for the AFC Championship game. They will be a favorite against either team in the NFC. If they end up playing the Commanders, they will be an overwhelming favorite.
10-point favorites? I don't even know what it would be.
I don't think it will be that big just because the Chiefs don't blow teams out.
True.
But the thing is, though, I could see the line moving a lot. Like, I could see, like, let's say the Chiefs play the Commanders, right? Chiefs win, Commanders win. I could see the Chiefs starting at a 4.5-point favorite and the line moving to like 6.5 because so much money is coming in on Kansas City. I could see that. Like, I could see that kind of shift in the line. What would make me bet the Commanders?
I couldn't do it. There's no way. About Time with the 5 said, Carrington, my Saturday morning jam when I drive to work. Love the show. Called your show a couple of weeks ago from down here in Mississippi.
Hey, appreciate that.
Let's go, man.
Thank you.
Then Caleb Daniels dropped a 30 bomb. And he's got a question. Do you remember ASU and Raiders quarterback Andrew Walter?
I do remember Andrew Walter.
Played in Oakland from 06 to 08.
I do remember him. I don't remember like much else about him, but I remember who Andrew Walter was. I love just mentioning random sports athletes.
That sounded like one of those.
It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite things to talk about with people.
Caleb, thanks so much for the 30 bomb, man. That's really generous of you. I appreciate everybody with the super chats. Speaking of 30,
I'll give you a random story. Talk about random quarterbacks.
Yeah, give me a random story.
This will be a good one from the text line. When I was a kid, I was like really into like detective books. Do you remember Encyclopedia Brown?
Yeah.
I used to read Encyclopedia Brown when I was a kid. And I wrote like my own detective book.
Okay.
And the detective, his name was Alex Van Pelt. He was named after a quarterback for the Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
He's named after him.
That sounds
Alex
like
Van
a
Pelt.
detective name.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was my thinking. Thank you. You were inside the mind of a young Carrington Harrison. That was the guy's name. It was Alex Van Pelt, and the female character, her name was Topanga. For Topanga from Boy Meets World.
Yep.
Boy Meets World. I love that show. I still watch that show today. I love Boy Meets World.
Dude, that's a throwback one. Somebody was saying, what's the why do people make such a big deal about teams scoring 30 points? I mean, kind of touche. Like, I get what you're saying because everybody I mean, we didn't know the Lions were going to get so banged up, but everybody was just talking about how many teams the Lions were just blowing out.
Mm.
And it's just like, at the end of the day, I don't think it matters. I think you just, however your team is wired to win, like all that matters is the W at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
What's crazy about the Lions game, they had 5 turnovers. I mean, that wasn't really on their defense. I mean, maybe some of those turnovers were from them pressing after being down, but like 5 turnovers, I don't care who's on your defense, you're probably not winning that game. So, yeah, it's a good point. Like, I don't know that it matters because a lot of even like Bills fans, and there might be some in here listening, it's fine, but like they're like, yeah, the Bills score too much points, like you're not gonna be able to keep up. But I'm like, I don't know that the game's gonna play out like that, and I think it's just gonna be close enough where Mahomes and company will be able to find a way.
Yeah, I think 30 points is usually the number because I think the like league average is around 24. So, I mean, I think we all watch enough football to know like there is a danger zone of if you only score 17 points in a game, you can lose to anybody. Like if you score 17 points, you can lose to any team in the National Football League. Like your margin for error is just so small if that's what you score. And then obviously the more points you score, et cetera, obviously you give yourself a chance. So I think the reason 30 stands out to some people because I'd love to see like the numbers. If you score 30 points in an NFL game, we can check the numbers. You win 85, 90% of it's really hard to score 35 points and lose. Like you got to do a lot of other things wrong. So I think that's kind of where the 30 points just becomes a really big deal.
Hey, bro, Mark Taylor said, I just tuned in, no offense, but I always thought Carrington was a nerdy white dude from listening to the radio.
This is the thing now. I'm not going to say that but like, I feel like people at this point kind of know what I look like. I do TV on Fox 4 on Fridays. Like I feel like people know what I look like now. Maybe I'm tripping, but I feel like people know that I'm black.
I thought it was even funnier when they said the comments on your live stream of your show said they thought Rob was black. I was like, Rob sounds as white as me, if not whiter. That's no offense. Like, we just got...
Rob loves IPAs. That's all you need to know. If you just had to say like one thing, like describe what's something you love. I love IPAs. I love IPAs, and I went to Blue Valley Northwest. I could have told you what race that person was. I could have told you.
Back to what you said, though, I just saw that comment and laughed. Like, I saw somebody the other day, maybe even today on Twitter, they said, I miss when the Chiefs used to do this to teams, and they showed like the Chiefs beating the Raiders like 48-9. But they didn't even win the Super Bowl that year. So I was like, do we really miss that? Yeah, like an aspect of me misses it, but like I just enjoy winning. Somebody in the comments earlier said, yeah, Chiefs might be a dynasty, but they're boring. They don't always win sexy. They just find ways to win.
I guess maybe I just don't think about it because I don't ever think about it. Like they just win. I guess I won't say there were times in the regular season. I won't say the Chiefs are like boring. They weren't boring. Like that's not the right way of saying it. But like I do feel like we had just reached this point where like I had seen this movie before. Where I'd be like, oh, I know what's going to happen. Like, oh, yeah, the Chiefs are going to win because they're going to do, like, X, Y, and Z. Like, it was that stretch where you remember where, like, they beat, like, Carolina and the Raiders. And I'm like, man, they're not losing to one of these teams. They're gonna beat these teams. I think maybe that's where the boring part comes from. But like Saturday's game wasn't boring. I don't know you could watch that and think that it was boring.
I thought it was fun. I mean, yeah, they don't win the same way. Ever since trading away Tyreek Hill, the identity of the offense is just different. Now, I was ecstatic to see Kelce doing his thing. Like, that was fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there were some definite fun moments. Wade Lucas with the 5 said, I thought you were a 64-year-old redhead. My bad. All right, now people just trolling.
Yeah. Why are you going to do my man Cole like that?
People do because I shave my head. So they think I'm old.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How did you get in the Chiefsaholic documentary?
They just hit me up.
Somebody from Amazon just called you?
Yeah, well, I had some people reach out about it because I did a couple of videos on it, and then like the Bixby police reached out, and they're like, "Hey, we're doing a documentary on."
You answered the call from the Bixby police?
No, I
There's
did not.
no scenario I would ever talk
not.
to them. Okay,
No.
I'm just saying.
No,
I don't know. I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know Bixby.
Somebody actually DM'd me on Twitter and said, my name is blah, blah, blah. I'm a detective with Bixby. And it was on a burner account. It was on a burner account. I didn't respond. I searched his name on Google, found his LinkedIn. And I was like, I still got a LinkedIn. I don't use it because this is what I do now. I don't need to, go apply for jobs. But I did message the detective on LinkedIn. I said, did you really DM me on a burner on Twitter? He said, yeah.
Yeah,
He said, yeah, that was me. So anyway, I don't even remember how I'll say this. I ignored those guys for the documentary for months, dude, because I didn't want to do it. Not really. I just didn't want to be associated with the guy. They actually came and filmed the interview, lost all the footage,
Dude, so
and they had to come back.
You did it twice. Oh, wow.
After the first time when they lost all the footage, I said, I'm not doing it again. I'm sorry. Like, that's got to be a sign from God. Like, he deleted,
God didn't want you to do
deleted
it.
my footage.
God didn't want you to do it.
Like, he does not want me in there.
That's crazy.
I ended up doing it eventually. Like, they were super nice guys. And I was like, I'll do it if I could just speak honestly about the guy.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, that was kind of it.
I watched it with my family on Christmas.
Did you really?
Yeah, no. So I ended up, they sent me an early screening for it. Maybe 3 weeks before it came out.
Did you watch it before or no?
No, the only reason I didn't watch it was I didn't know how to get it on the TV. Maybe I was being
because it was like a weird website.
I was being a boomer. Maybe I couldn't because I was I didn't know how to get it. I'm I'm not about to watch this on my phone or my laptop and I got to hook it up. I don't want to see it that bad. I do have 3 takeaways though from the doc.
Okay.
From watching it. I'll tell you the 3 takeaways.
Okay.
The first takeaway is I kind of understand what happened to Chiefsaholic, and I thought this before I saw the documentary, and the documentary just confirmed it. I don't think that Chiefsaholic ever was a part of a community.
No.
And I think for the first time in his life, people noticed him. I am this character.
Okay.
I am popular.
Yeah.
And I have gotten attention that I've never gotten before. And I think that becomes like a drug. I don't know if you guys went to college or whatever, but you could tell the girls that were from really small towns that now this is I went to school with 24 people. Now there's 5, and now there's thousands of people. You could just tell based on these things, the way people how they were raised, where they came up from, and all those kind of things. I think it was kind of clear. Chiefsaholic was a loser. I don't mean derogatory, but he was a loser.
Sure.
And for the first time, he was a winner.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think he got addicted to that feeling. In order to keep that feeling, you got to be at the top of the community. You got to go to the games and be this persona and be this character. And I think he got addicted and hooked to that feeling. I think that's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, I guess I got 4 things now. Number 2, I thought this when I watched Tiger King. On the first Tiger King, there was one of the people and he was flaunting this big money. Man, in order to do some of the stuff that they were doing, you got to be rich. You got to be rich to fly around the country and go to Chiefs games and stay at these places and eat at these and bet the way. You got to be rich. So either you have to have an incredible job or you got to be stealing. Or stealing. That's it. It's the only 2 ways you can do it. You got to be stealing in order to do that. So I think the signs were there basically from the beginning with Chiefsaholic that, hey, it's only 1 of 2 things. That doesn't make any sense. The third thing, I don't know that young lady's name. Maybe she is listening to this. I'm telling you, I think that she loved Chiefsaholic more than she loved the Chiefs. Lexi was her name. I think that was her name.
I don't even remember, but dude,
You know what I'm talking about, though?
Yeah, the one she said he was a god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said that was like a highlight of her week. It was nuts. I'm sitting there watching this. I'm like, my mom is sitting there. My sister is sitting there. We're both sitting there like, yo, what are you talking about? This woman was crazy. That one was nuts. And then the fourth thing, the last thing is, that bail bondsman guy, I didn't like him.
You didn't like him? He was interesting.
I didn't like him. This is what it felt like to me.
You didn't like his roll under the car?
Oh my goodness. I didn't like that. I didn't like when he confronts the woman's mom. Okay, she's not the one that cheated you out of the money. She's not the one that stiffed you. You know you're being recorded. She doesn't know you're being recorded. You know you're being recorded. And the way you were talking to her and threatening to take her car, I just didn't like that. I just thought that was corny to me. I didn't like that. I think he painted it like he really wanted to help Chiefsaholic, and I'm like, bro, this is an endorsement for you. You know, you put up $80,000 for this guy. You want to help him, but now you're letting Amazon follow you around to get your eyes. I just didn't like it. I was actually rooting for him not to get his money back. The whole second half of the movie, I honestly was rooting for Chiefsaholic to evade police for as long as he could.
Even though you knew how the story ended.
Yeah, I really was rooting for him.
This
is the thing I don't get. I don't understand. If I knew the cops were looking for me, if I knew, and I had money, man, when you find me, you're either going to find me in Antigua or you're going to find me in Wyoming. I'm sorry, one of the two. You're going to find me in the mountains.
He was in Cali?
Somewhere. Yeah, you're going to find me like the Unabomber. Remember they found the Unabomber? Like they found him in like some rural.
Yeah.
You're going to find me that way. I got a beard like James Harden. I've been living off the land and you just got me. Like, oh, damn, you got me. Or when you find me, I'm going to be in Bali somewhere. No. The federal government is looking for me. The federal government is looking for me. You're not finding me in Olathe, Kansas. No, that's not where No, that's not where I'm getting captured by the police. Not in Sacramento, California. No, what are you going to a Kings game? What reason do you have to be in Sacramento, California? It's visiting family and the Kings. There's no other reason to be in Sacramento. No other reason.
Yeah, it was such a weird. That whole story was just a weird one.
Somebody said Wyoming is a bad place to hide if you're black. Man, I'm telling them I'm Shabuzi. That's who I'm telling them. Who are you, Shabuzi? That's what I'm telling them. Crazy to me. You're not finding me in Sacramento, California. I'm telling you that right now.
I remember when the FBI was in KC for something.
You were talking to him, sounds like.
Well, not during that time, but I was like, no way, Chiefsaholic's in KC.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, there is no way he's in Kansas City. There's just no way. Yeah, super wild story. I think he's in prison for like 15 to 20 years. He robbed banks it was a BB gun.
I saw that, yeah. It was crazy.
I mean, but the tellers didn't know.
Is robbing banks easy? Because, like, it seems difficult,
He robbed
right?
like 7 of them.
It seems difficult. Like, you've been to a bank before. There's all these cameras, there's a security guy. I'm like, it doesn't seem like you could just rob banks. And like, how are you robbing banks? And I don't know.
My dog is like jumping up. She's like, Dad, it's 10:30. You normally pet me. Why aren't you petting me? You guys are getting good shots of Casey. You normally don't get to see her. Yeah, man.
What kind of dog is this?
Golden Doodle.
Oh,
a mini Golden Doodle. Dean Bishop, he was also ensuring he only got 15 minutes. I don't even know what y'all are talking about.
Oh, he's talking about the bail bondsman. The bail bondsman was trying to get his 15 minutes of fame.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude, I just didn't like that dude.
When he threw his papers off the desk.
Oh, my goodness. When he had his little fake temper tantrum for the cameras.
Turn the cameras off.
I didn't like that dude, man. I really was rooting against him. I was rooting against him. I wanted Chiefsaholic to evade police just so that guy didn't get his money back.
I just can't believe we can move on after this.
How bad are you at trying to locate somebody? Like, let's say that they did a reality show.
They couldn't find him.
I'm just saying, let's say they did a reality show and they were like, all right, you have to find one human being in America and we're going to give you all the resources you need to find this one person. I couldn't find that person in 80 days. No, I'm finding them.
Yeah.
I'm finding you. You're not evading me for 80 days. If you're going to, no, I'm not letting you do that. I'm not, you're not, this is the greatest game of hide and seek and I will find you. I'll be Liam Neeson. I've got a unique set of skills. I will find you. I will find you.
You know how many people either commented, DM'd me, or found some way to contact me? No. After the documentary went out. You know how many people messaged me, DM'd me, commented, and said, "Oh, look, it's the snitch." I was like, dude, they played it up like I did something.
I saw that. This is the thing. Okay,
they played it up like I did something.
Okay, this is where I'm going to defend you. Because I think people have this wrong. I'm happy to be having this conversation. Sometimes I want to say stuff. This is gonna sound more big-headed than it's but like I know if I tweet it, my mentions would just, and I don't want to sit here and now argue all day with people about stuff. But I was gonna defend you. This is where I'll defend you. You can only be a snitch in one way. I guess two ways. You are not a criminal. You are a civilian. You, as a civilian, cannot be a snitch. You can be a witness. Hey, I saw something messed up that happened. I'm going to cooperate with the police, right? That's fine. You only can be a snitch if you are involved in the crime. If you were an accomplice to Chiefsaholic, and now the police come to you and say, hey, in order for you not to get jail time, you now need to turn on Chiefsaholic. Yes, you are a snitch. But no, if you are a regular civilian and you see a crime and you call the police and tell them, hey, somebody's breaking into this. No, you are not a snitch. You are a civilian. You don't play by those rules. So no, you did not snitch. I know I'm joking with you, but you did not snitch on Chiefsaholic. No.
Well, what's even funnier is
you can only be a snitch if you are either living that life or an accomplice to what is going on.
That's fair enough. And what's funny, like all they said was, hey, where did you get this one or two pieces of info? I said, well, I got it from two different people, but I'm not going to tell you. Like, you can talk to them. And they're like, well, can you put us in contact? I just reached out to those two people, said, hey, the police want to talk. Are you willing to chat? Here's their info. And then they contacted that. That's what I did. But then on the documentary, they're like, hey, that YouTube channel helped us. I was like, really?
And I would also say, though, that you would then follow under my rules. Like, I'm not really offering up information to the police, but I've got a very, very simple rule. For the most part, I don't really care what you do. Like,
yeah,
I don't care. Like, I try to focus on myself. I try to worry about myself. Don't hurt women. Don't hurt kids. It's that simple. Don't hurt women. Don't hurt kids. I'm like Scarface. Don't hurt with, just leave them out of it. He really messed with that woman from Tulsa. Like, genuinely ruined that woman's life.
Yeah.
So turning that person in, I don't feel bad about that. Be better at being a criminal. You were a bad criminal.
And that was the only victim that was willing to talk on camera.
Yeah.
I mean, he robbed all those banks like that, threatening people's lives. They didn't know there was a BB gun, but still, they didn't know.
Be a better criminal.
Dub Freak with the 5. Thank you, man. He said, lucky I've not got work tomorrow. Been enjoying the chat and just realized it's 4:30 a.m. Time flies when having fun. So
I got to work in the morning. I got to do Channel 4.
So he's from overseas.
Oh, well.
You got to do Channel 4?
Yeah, I do Fox 4 on Fridays from 9 to 10.
Do you really?
Nice, yeah, I got to go on this radio show tomorrow early, too, in Pittsburgh.
What time do you need off? Because we can make sure you're done. We can be
done 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock?
11 o'clock? All right, bet.
Yeah, I'm having fun. I'm
got
just
another 15 minutes. I mean,
all I'm going to do is go home and watch Entourage, so I'm not going to do anything else.
I'm on, you like Dexter? The Dexter?
I watched the first episode. Wasn't for me.
The prequel?
I
just Dexter in general. Okay.
I watched one episode. Wasn't for me.
Dude, I don't know what it is. I love that show, but they got the prequel out right now. So the prequel's been dropping shows every Friday.
I normally follow the belief you got to watch a show for 3 episodes to see if you like it or not.
You gave Dexter just one show one?
I thought he was weird.
Oh, he is weird.
I didn't have it in me. I really didn't.
Be a better criminal. Somebody said Cole was driving the getaway car.
No, yeah, you were. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Now, if you were in it in any way and then you told me you turned on him, I would call you a snitch. But no, you did not have anything to do with it. No.
I had one day out of the blue, he messaged me on Twitter, said, hey, I like your videos. I watch them on my lunch break. And now I'm over here like, is he like watching them from bank to bank? Like, what?
Maybe he's watching them right now. Maybe he's watching this right now. Shout out to Chiefsaholic.
From prison? I don't know.
The Chiefsaholic.
I don't know about that.
I don't trust many fully grown adults with braces, though. I don't know if I can trust you. I don't know, like, you're trustworthy.
Isaiah Pacheco, like Snead? Those guys got braces?
Chiefs didn't trust Isaiah or Snead. They trade him to another team. Isaiah Pacheco, I wouldn't give him any carries right now. I wouldn't give him any carries.
Fair enough.
I wouldn't. What's Carrington's opinion on the Hallmark Chiefs movie? We actually did a podcast on the Chiefs movie. It is on Bad Movies, Worst Opinions. Show people. I did a podcast on it. Go scroll down on there. Make sure you subscribe to my movie podcast. Bad Movies, Worst Opinions comes out every Tuesday. We did do that.
Where is it?
Well, scroll down. Yeah, right there.
Right there. 12-5.
Bad Movies, Worst Opinions. We watched the Chiefs movie. I liked it. It was fine. It was fine for what it was. I didn't have any issues with it. It was fine.
I mean, it had to have been cheesy.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
I thought that girl was kind of crazy, though.
I didn't watch it. I don't know what you're talking about. Nah, dude, I couldn't watch it.
That's crazy.
I'm
shocked you weren't in it.
I never asked, but I don't even know who they had in it, to be honest with you. I can't do Hallmark movies, man. I'm sorry.
I'm not saying it was good, but it was fine.
Even if it's about the Chiefs, I can't. I'm sorry, guys, if you watched it. I just can't.
I watched it.
Yeah, Bam said I still haven't watched it.
It's quick. It's like 70 minutes. It's shorter than this live stream. It's shorter than that. I'm going to Whataburger when this is over. I love Whataburger. Like Whataburger?
No.
Yeah.
I think it's... You want my real opinion?
They follow me on Twitter. Whataburger does.
They do? They're not going to follow me because I said Sonic's better.
Pat doesn't follow me on Twitter, which is crazy because I talk to him every week. I'm going to ask him one year, like, why don't you follow me on Twitter?
Dude, you want to hear... Not everybody knows this, but did I ever tell you a story about when he followed me on Twitter?
Oh, he followed you? Oh, that's cool.
Well, for 5 minutes. So,
oh, wow.
So he followed me, and I think he just came across one of my feeds, one of my tweets or something. I think he just accidentally hit the follow button. I saw it, click this profile, and I was like, all right, that's actually Mahomes, because on Twitter now you're like, is that the real account or not? Because they have a check mark.
Yeah,
you don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
So I messaged him. Like
you should have never brought attention to the fact that he followed you. You messed up by doing that.
I gave it like 30 minutes. And I just said, I don't think I was super weird. I was just like, hey man, appreciate the follow. Been a lifelong Chiefs fan. So all I said after that was like, appreciate what you're doing for the kingdom. Like,
and then
go win it next week or something. He responded.
Oh, wow.
He said, LOL, I'm not going to lie. I didn't even mean to follow you. I was like, dang, I got humbled pretty quickly. But he was super cool about it. And I was like, oh, you can go ahead and unfollow me. Like, I'm not tripping about it if it was an accident.
Okay. Yeah. I have two stories like that. I think you will like these stories. My sister, she is 22 now.
Okay.
She's like really asked me for 3 things in her life. I mean, she's a kid, she asked for stuff, but like, she asked to meet Alex Gordon after they won the World Series.
Okay.
She wanted to go to Vegas for her 21st birthday, and she wanted to meet Patrick Mahomes. So she met Mahomes. She's like a football fan now after this whole thing. My other friend really wanted to meet Travis Kelce. This is like right before Taylor Swift. So Kelce's team invited us out to this like charity thing that he was doing or whatever. And Kelce was the absolute nicest to her that
that's awesome.
That I've been around enough famous people to know they're not all like that. Like they might not be like mean, but like they're just not like overly nice.
Yeah.
He like came over to me, we talked for a while, and like took pictures with her, recorded a video with her.
That's really cool.
Was just like really, really nice to her. And like there was a moment where it was like just me and him by ourselves. I just told him, I was like, you didn't have to do that. Like, like me and you aren't boys. We're not friends in that way. Like you didn't have to like go out of your way to make sure that like she had like a really good experience, like she is here because you're here. Like she's not a big football fan, so
That's
after
cool
that,
he
she
did
like bought his jersey and like, she's now a Kelce fan because I met him and he was incredibly nice to me. So, I always will respect Travis Kelce for just how he kind of handled it that day and just.
That's pretty cool, man.
And just whenever, like...
Seems like the real deal.
Yeah, and just, the whole Taylor Swift thing, it makes sense to me. Like, after that story and, like, having that personal experience, like, I get how you aren't maybe caught up in, like, all the things that kind of come with I'm dating this, like, really famous person. So, yeah, no, like I said, man, Travis was... That day, it was one of, like, life-changing moments of just... like, you've done this enough now. Like, your page is, like, big enough. Like, you be, like, around Chiefs players, and, like, they might not be, assholes or whatever, but, like, they're just, like, I'm not going to go out of my way to be super friendly to you, and Kelce was the opposite, so I got a lot of respect for that.
Oh, that's pretty cool, man. Yeah, I've met a handful of players just through some connects. Like, Chiefs VIDS was a sponsor of the channel.
It sounds like your dog is, like when
She's chewing this ball, dude.
When like you're trying to get your like blood pressure checked. Yeah. That's what it sounds like.
She keeps chewing this ball, and it had a squeaker in it, and we removed the squeaker.
That's what it sounds like.
We removed the squeaker, dude, because she'd just be squeaking. But yeah, I've only met like a few players, but they've been nice. Like I met Creed. I asked him his favorite Boulevard, and he was like, "Yeah, I like wheat." I was like, "What do you think of Tank 7? Because that's my favorite drink." Mm-hmm. And he goes, "Oh yeah, it's a drink you could have like 3 or 4 and be good." I'm like, 3 or 4 Tank 7s? Those are 8.5%, dude. But yeah, that's a big guy. So I'm like, if I drink 2 Tank 7s, I don't need any more. But he was like,
gonna have this one.
He said 3 or 4 and you're good. I'm like, 3 or 4 Tank 7s. I met Rashee Rice. My daughter was with me, and he signed a little like, this was before his everything.
He signed your steering wheel?
No. No. This was before any of that.
He signed your driver's manual?
No.
Yo, getting Rashee Rice to sign your driver's manual would be crazy.
That'd be worth some money, bro. Nah, he signed, I don't even remember what he signed, just like a piece of merch for her, and then I had to tell her, because she kept hearing Rashee Rice be talked about at school. So I had to tell her favorite player had an accident and was in.
Wow!
He was going to court, and she was sad.
You say he had an accident like that, like he pottied on himself. Yo, Rashee Rice had an accident earlier today. Cole, can I tell you this, man? And I say this out of love. I got a lot of respect for you and your channel. We gotta upgrade the chairs. How do you got thousands of dollars worth of equipment, and you got these little church. Bro,
I got better chairs. I got that chair.
Oh, I just got to get this little...
Well, I got another, but they don't match. So it'd be like, we could get better chairs for next time. What kind of chair do you want?
These are the chairs that they have. Like, if you go to, like, church, like, on Sunday, you, like, go down there, they have, like, a little light meal for you to have. That's what these chairs are. These are the chairs that, like, when you play, like, pickup basketball at the YMCA and the little, like, makeshift bench that they have, that's what these chairs are.
Is that why you said something? Steven with the 5 said, put this towards a better chair for your guests.
It's just not comfortable. I've been like moving, my butt hurts.
Bro, I normally stand for my streams. I'll get a better chair next time. You can
I've seen the videos are long. You stand up the whole time?
No, I sit sometimes. I have a nice chair, but I didn't want to be sitting in a nice chair.
They're not paying me enough at work to be standing up to do the show. I'm not standing up to do the show. If I'm standing up to do the show, I'm mad about something.
How many hours do you prep? Because that's 4 hours of that's like nonstop. How many hours are you prepping before? Are you doing a lot of interviews and stuff before that to play
Sometimes. It depends.
It feels like a lot of prep.
I mean, I would say, like, I don't know if you ever really stop prepping for the show.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever really stop.
Yeah, Rob stands, said Scott.
Rob has a chair. Rob sits down way more than you guys see. I'm not hating him. Rob's my dog. He knows that. But Rob sits down a lot. I get there at 11 on most days. This week's been a little different. I get there like at 9, maybe 9:30 during this time. It's like the busiest time for me the whole year. I was on the phone with someone before I came over here. I would say January and September are probably my 2 biggest months.
Okay. Playoffs and then start of the
season. There's stretches where there's that 10-day stretch with the Big 12 and March Madness that's really busy too. There's pockets that are really busy. Like that stretch of the first week of Royals home games are really busy. So yeah, there's those kind of pockets. To maybe simplify the process for me now, and some of it is just
you've been doing it for a while.
I've been doing it for a while, and the Chiefs have been at this place a while. That I don't really get nervous about the show until now, because I just it's like anything. I know these shows really, really matter. They matter to me. They matter to the audience. You know what I mean? They really, really matter. So like, and a lot of it's just like now knowing how to plan for these shows and knowing when to start to plan. So like, you know, for tomorrow with Nick and we got Mad Dog in. So like, I know at this point how to call in the Mad Dog favor, when to get him on the show. Sure. You know, it's like some of that, you know, I just kind of know. But yeah, I would say maybe like the most simple way of doing it is at this point, let's say the Chiefs win. Like they win on Sunday and I could come in for the show. All right, we got 2 weeks between now and the game. I will start a running notebook. I will write down every Commander's thought I have for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And there's no reason to like keep them. Like after the game, they expire, you know, like, you know, you can't take them till, you know, Valentine's Day. So I end up doing that. I end up keeping a running list, and anything I think about the Commanders, I will write it down. And I will make sure in some capacity, if it's good enough, it will make the show. Yeah, that's, you know.
You just kind of always have that show on your mind in the sense of like if you think of something, you'll probably just write it down.
Yeah, I normally keep notes in my phone.
Okay.
Or if I see like a video or a tweet or something that I really like, I'll either DM it to myself or I'll send it to my producer.
Okay.
Like it could be 2:00 in the morning. I'm just gonna send it to him. Like and then, you know, you work with somebody long enough, you know, they know how you think and you start to know how they think, and that ends up being a positive. But that's it for the most part. And like I would say like now, I would say tomorrow's show probably 80% done already.
Okay.
You know, because like I've been thinking about the Bills all week. And, you know, I wrote down 40 things I think about the Bills. And, you know, over the price, you just start crossing them out. And then, you know, by the time you get to Friday, it's like, oh, I have 12 things that we haven't done as topics. All right, now which 8 are going to make the show and what, you know, not going to make the show. You know, stuff doesn't make the show all the time. You know, interviews sometimes. You interview somebody, if it's not good enough, like I'm not putting it on. Like it's not good enough to make the show.
Is that when sometimes you'll just play a snippet? Like one answer?
Yeah. Sometimes. Sometimes I'll know going into it, like, they're maybe not good for 7 minutes, but there's a good 2 minutes here.
Okay. Well, I just listen to your show more now that it's on YouTube when I edit sometimes like thumbnails and stuff, and it's polished. I mean, you're not stopping. You're going from thing to thing. I mean, maybe sometimes it helps during the commercial breaks to prep a couple things. I don't know. But yeah, it's really well done. Hey, Levi Massey said, if that chair that you're sitting in, C-Dot, is a current Chiefs player, who is it?
That's a great question.
That's a fire question.
That's a great question.
How do you think of that?
A current, not all time?
I think he said current. Current Chiefs player. Has to be current. Yeah, it has to be current.
Nico Remigio.
Why?
This is why.
Okay.
Nico Remigio. This is why. I think Nico is a good special teams player.
Okay.
This is a solid chair. It's sturdy. It's held me up. It's got some fumble problems, though. It's got some fumble problems. That's what it's got. It's got a little. It's not comfortable. It's not comfortable at all. Not even a little bit.
All right. Yeah. So. Yeah, he makes you uncomfortable. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah. That's actually a fire one.
Yeah, Nico Remigio.
Christy said, is Carrington on YouTube? You have a YouTube channel, but you don't. Are you posting you kind of post your podcast to it, but
I wasn't making as much money off YouTube as you were making. If I was doing that, I would have kept doing it. I got tired of doing it for peanuts. You know how it is when you just starting and you're building up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the free time to do it the way you did it. The reason I like you so much is I noticed this when I made my documentary, how, man, it's just such an advantage in being part of the machine. Where now for the show, I don't really got to do a whole lot. Like, I mean, I'm not making it's not work. Like,
yeah,
I show up. I don't got to turn anything on. I don't got to set anything up. I just sit down and talk.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I don't tweet the links. I don't post them to the podcast page. I don't do any of those things. When I made a documentary, you then realize like, oh wait, like I got to do all of this stuff, you know? So So like I got a lot of respect for you because just I don't think people understand the amount of work it takes to do what you do and to make it look the way that it looks for you. I just think that's really cool, man. I'm really big on like ownership, and I hate that
Appreciate that, man.
I hate that we've like made it bad for people that have a podcast. Like
I mean, a lot of people do have a podcast.
Yeah, but like I don't think that's a bad thing.
No,
like,
it's fine.
And just I think it's like any business. Like
Yeah.
the market will decide who they like and who they don't like. And the market will decide who's serious about it and who's not serious about it.
Yeah.
Anybody can start a podcast. I think I was reading this thing, like the average podcaster does 7 episodes. And I think most people, you do it. You either do it, it's harder than you think it is. Like people think, oh, I can just dance on TikTok and get like, no, like you got to do some other stuff than just, oh, I can dance on TikTok and make a lot of money. But I think the average person starts it and thinks and finds out it's way harder than what it actually is to actually do it. I think that's it. Or I think people aren't getting the response early on that they want.
Sure.
And, you know, you put all your hard work into this thing and you get 9 views.
Yeah.
And you just get discouraged. Like, man, why am I spending all this time to get 9 views? And I don't think a lot of people are maybe willing to sit there through the, hey, you do this and you get 9 views. And then you get 15 views. And then you get 21 views. And then you get, like, it takes time to build those things up. And, you know, eventually break through to, you know, get to that next step, that next point. So I got a lot of respect for you just because I'm imagining you had those things like, oh, I got 100 views and you know, and you just kept doing it and you eventually made it, man. So I think that's really cool. Honestly, I think it's really cool.
I feel like you've been really cool since the beginning. I mean, I remember you commented on, I think I commented on one of your YouTube videos when you were doing, that's how I found you, was through YouTube. I didn't really listen to sports radio. I found all my stuff on YouTube because I'm just a YouTube junkie.
I love YouTube too. YouTube is my favorite channel.
I freaking love YouTube, man.
YouTube and HBO Max. Those are my 2 favorite channels.
YouTube's a jam. But I found your stuff and you're like, hey, let's collab. And dude, I didn't even mean it disrespectfully. I was like, bro, I didn't even really know you from the radio. And you're like, that's crazy. Because like, you're like, that's what I've been doing forever.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously then I started listening to more of your show, especially now that it's on YouTube. And yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. I don't know if you know this, I used to wake up at 3:50 in the morning and I'd work on YouTube from about 4 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., drop a video and then go to work.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
And I didn't really almost like die, but I like ruined my back. I was having like anxiety fits and stuff, but I just didn't realize you're just not supposed to, your body's not really made to work like 16 hours a day.
No, for sure.
And then raise a family and all that. So I'm glad that all that's behind me. We laid the foundation. The channel's grown enough where I have an editor now, a couple editors, and they can help me. So sometimes what I do is just research and then talk, and then they edit it, which is helpful.
And once
Super
you get
helpful.
to that point, it's just it just becomes so much more fun to do. I remember, this is like a radio point, but I think you'll can identify with this too. I remember somebody told me this, and it changed my life. They told me there's 2 people that do radio. You do it, it's fun, you realize you don't make enough money from it, and then you do something else. I imagine that's like YouTube. I did it, it was really fun, I put a lot of work into it, but man, I made $1,500 last year doing it. Like, this isn't like the amount of time I spend on it and then doing it, it's not it. Or there's people like you. You do it and you break through and you're like, wow, like I can make a living doing this. And somebody told me that about radio. Like there's 2 people. There's people that do it. I always wanted to do radio. You do it and you think, man, this was fun. Or you do it and you can make a lot of money doing this. Like, I mean, I've done this enough. Like I know people, like if I told you like, hey, this person makes this to do what you do, you'd be like, that it would blow your mind how much
I can't even imagine some of the national people.
Some of the like
I can't even
how
imagine
much money people make to do this. And I just remember I was like, I and the funny thing is I heard Dave Chappelle, he told this story. And people always ask like, oh, why'd you stay in Kansas City? And this kind of answers the why. Chappelle was telling this story about the Screen Actors Guild. And he was telling the story of how his dad was a teacher, and his dad was telling him that you'll never make a lot of money being a comedian.
Okay.
And he told his dad, he was like, well, how much do you make being a teacher? And his dad told him. And he was like, are you happy? He was like, yeah, of course. And he was like, well, if I can make comedy and I can make what you make and be happy, then it's worth it to me. That like I think you start like doing it for like the love and you do it for those things. But like,
Sure.
man, if you can like do it and like be comfortable and make a living doing that, and it's so much more fun. So like and the fact that you quit a job to talk about the Chiefs on the internet, that's the American dream.
Yeah,
that's incredible, man. Incredible.
You know what's interesting is I went onto YouTube this morning and it said happy 3-year anniversary. I dropped my first video 3 years ago today. It was an injury report, Chiefs-Bills, the morning of the divisional game. I didn't even know what I was doing, dude. I was like, yeah, Darrell Williams, he's got something wrong with his toe. I don't really know, but he's on there with the toe. He's going to play, though. But yeah, 3 years ago today, we started.
That's crazy, man.
So
congratulations, man.
thanks, bro.
That's awesome.
I appreciate the kind words. I do need to say, as you were talking, I saw a comment, but I was like, I gotta wait. Somebody in chat said Cherison Butker.
This chair, it does stink.
Cherison Butker is insane. Well, okay, so next time,
do you have like t-shirts and merch and stuff? Like, could I buy a How About Those Chiefs hoodie?
Yeah. I got a merch store. It's online.
Oh, okay. I never seen it
But because of trademarks, I can't do. I just do HBTC.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then
sense.
like the logo on my computer or on the TV back there, like that's on a shirt.
Yeah.
And then
I'd never seen it before.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel weird wearing my own like merch if it's like my logo, because you'll see my logo, then you'll see my logo back here, you'll see my logo over there. It just feels a little much, but
I mean, I understand. I was curious. I've never seen one before.
No, dude, I appreciate the kind words, man. It was like we haven't done this since March of 2023.
Yeah,
so it's been a year and a half.
We're locked in for the rest of the playoffs. If the Chiefs win, I'll be back the next couple of weeks.
Let's go, dude. Yeah, well, that'll be fun, man.
Let's do this. Let's it's you know what?
It's 11:01, so we gotta go.
You know what? I'll keep doing it. Let's do 9 more minutes. We'll do 10 more minutes of questions. So if you got a question, send your questions in. I will answer as many questions as I can in the next 9 minutes. How about that?
Let's go. C-Dot. I saw some people saying Charger Dot in the comments.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you where the Chargers dot come from. I'm gonna tell you where it came from.
Because you said people can't call you that anymore on a recent show.
Yeah, I was just joking. But so this is where the Chargers dot came from. Mahomes' first year, I picked the Chargers to win the division. Which I feel like people now give me a lot of grief when the Chiefs and the Chargers that year won the same amount of games. They both won 12 games that year. So I feel like I kind of got a bad rap for being called Chargers Dot. But the second time I got called Chargers Dot was that time that the Chiefs got smoked by the Titans in the regular season. Remember that game?
Yeah,
the Chiefs were like
they
4
put up
and
like
3
points.
They got smoked.
You said the Chargers are going to win?
I remember at that point thinking the Chargers are going to win the division, and I said it on the next show that the Chargers were going to win the division,
and you were wrong.
Yeah, and ever since then I've been called Chargers Dot. That's that's how people want to know how Chargers Dot started. It started from those two things. I picked the Chargers Mahomes' first year and said they were going to win the division, and then that year they got smoked by the Titans, and I was like, yeah, this Chiefs team, they're not that good. I just was like, yeah, the Chargers, yeah, and.
You want to talk about bad? That was a good one. That was a bad loss.
I'll answer a couple of these questions. C-Dot, what is your worst hot take? This actually was on. I get this all the time. J.J. Watt just screamed white hope to me.
Oh no!
It screamed.
Oh no!
White try hard guy from Midwest school. So there's actually a video, you guys can find it. Big Cat talks to JJ Watt about my tweet. And like he reads my tweet to JJ Watt that I said he was going to be a bust. So that's the worst hot take I've ever had.
That's a pretty bad one. But I feel like everybody who talks draft, I feel like everybody out there who's been doing it for years has a take like that.
Yeah, of course.
Like Brett Coleman said something like, as long as the Bill, I don't even remember what team, as long as this team doesn't make it out of round 1 with Patrick Mahomes, I'll consider their draft a success. Oh no.
Oh, somebody asked a good question. What's the best piece of advice you ever got? This is one of my favorite stories, actually. This was right before Nick left for Houston. And we went to dinner and went out. We had a really good conversation. And he told me, he said, "You're going to do great." He said, "Make sure that every time you're in front of a microphone, you are 100% yourself. And if you are anything less than yourself, the audience will know and they will hate you for it." And I think most people in this space have this problem when they're starting. I think musicians have this problem too, is you try to sound like people that you think are really good at this. And I think the moment you find out what works for you, I think it then changes for you. I started doing this at a really young age. I dropped out of college to work on Nick's show. And I was hosting regularly in Kansas City. I was 23 years old. I just been doing this for a really long time. I think it, you takes you times and ups and downs, and you kind of figure it out. I think once you figure out what works for you and your style or you with uploading videos, eventually you figured out a workflow. You figured out exactly how long it takes you to make a video, to shoot the video, to cut the video. Once you figure that out, you can really start to grow. That's when I think you can take the next step.
This ties right into it, and maybe this is the same answer. But C-Dot, what was the most beneficial thing you learned from working with Parkins and Nick? Would that be it?
Yeah, no, that would be my Nick story about what I learned the most. I tell people all the time that Nick wasn't really the I learned from Nick mostly watching him every day and seeing his process, but I don't know if Nick really gave me regularly a lot of advice. I would say what I learned from Parkins was maybe to keep the music analogy. Some people can you can sing, but can you make a song? I think those are two very different things.
Yeah.
I think Danny taught me how to take a thought and how to make it into a topic, to get how do you get people to react to it? How do you take that thing and make it a really interesting 10-minute thing to talk about? That I would say over time, what I think I've gotten really good at and how I think our show has gotten really successful is I think I just have a really good idea of what people want to talk about. And I think our show really started to take off during kind of big days where, knock on wood, but tomorrow if Patrick Mahomes broke his leg, for example, I think our show would know how to handle it better than anybody else. I know exactly what I would do. I know who I would call. I know what time I would want him on the show. It's I think that I learned that from being around Danny. Another thing I think I learned from Nick too, and you guys will remember this. I had to knock on wood, so I knocked on wood. The other thing I learned from Nick was this was whenever Arrowhead anxiety happened. That big long story from Kent Babb in the Star. I remember that. And I remember Nick talked about it for basically the entire show. And I remember asking, I was like, "Why'd you do that?" It was so confusing to me why you did it. And I remember he said this, and he said, I don't want anybody to get in their car and not know what I feel about this topic. And I was like, wow. It just hit me. It hit me. That was oh man, that was a really good way of looking at it. So I try to keep that in mind for big days, for important days.
Those are two really awesome guys to have around you.
I knocked on wood, so I wanted to make sure. I don't want anybody to.
You said that, and I was like, what the heck, bro?
I was just trying to think of something very, very serious that could happen. That was the maybe I should have said something different.
Bro, I looked at the camera. I was like,
you know what I meant.
What the?
I was trying to think if there was a very, very serious thing that could happen with the Chiefs. And that would be the most serious thing that could happen. That was the point of the analogy.
Okay, fair enough. Somebody said, do you consider Patrick Mahomes the greatest of all time?
No, I think he's in the top 3.
Brady,
already?
Montana, Mahomes?
Yeah, I think he's 3. I mean, maybe you would argue Peyton, but the rings would end up being the difference. I think right now you could say Mahomes is 3 pretty definitively at this point.
If he three-peats, is he at 2?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, Montana was 4 for 4, but 3 in a row.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, if you have 4 and you have 3 of them in a row, yeah, no, that's ahead of that's ahead. Yeah, no. I would say right now Mahomes is 3.
Yeah.
If we're going off resume, I would say Mahomes is 3.
I was arguing jokingly with my editor yesterday, saying that Tom Brady wasn't the GOAT, and I was just messing around. Like, he's never won a Super Bowl without a top 8 defense. And I started looking up other stuff, and I was like, bro, I'm actually gonna like talk myself into this if I keep the joke going. It's just like what Brady was able to do with longevity. We just got to keep him. I feel like he's got to stay there for a while. Now, maybe somebody would argue Montana over him, but I feel like that's a little much.
I mean, if you put Joe 2, because like,
yeah,
I think you can like kind of pinpoint when Joe took over. I think Tom became the greatest quarterback alive after the Falcons come from behind victory. That 28-3 in the Super Bowl, I think that's when it started to shift. People were having the conversation, is he it? I think after that it became pretty definitive. That's the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. So like, is that moment going to happen for Patrick Mahomes? Like, is there going to be that, oh yeah, this is the moment that he's better? Because I would say LeBron, when the he's better than Jordan really picked up was the block on Andre Iguodala. That's when it picked up. You were down 3-1. This team was so great, and you beat that team. That's when people started to say, I think he's the greatest quarterback of all time. Is that this year? Like, if you think about it, the Chiefs will have only lost 1 game. The Broncos game doesn't count.
No, it does not count.
They will only have lost 1 game. They then beat the team that they lost to in the regular season. They won the Super Bowl, and you got a 3-peat. Is like, if you're going to make the argument that person's the best, you won 4, you got a 3-peat, and you maybe just had the greatest season in NFL history, at least as a team.
Yeah. It's a good argument.
Yeah, a really good argument. A really good argument.
Some people care, like some people are like, he is not 3. I'm like, well, I don't know. It's fine. This is his take. Okay, you could have him at 2 or 1 if you want, but that's fine. Okay, last question before we get out of here. I feel
I guess my answer would be like, what's the lowest thing you could put Mahomes? Like, if you're arguing that he's not 3.
I think they're saying he's higher, is what I think they're saying, but maybe they're saying he's lower.
I wouldn't put him ahead of Joe or Tom at this
I can't
point.
see how you. I can't see how you do it. But
Mahomes has been great, right? He's 29 years old.
He's only played for 7 or 8 years, and he's already top 3. I mean, that's insane.
I mean,
that's unreal.
Joe Montana played in 4 Super Bowls and didn't have a turnover in any of them. Think about that. He didn't have a turnover in any of those.
That's insane.
You know how crazy that is?
No, that's
4
insane.
Super Bowls, 0 turnovers, and you also went 4-0 in those
4.
things. Yeah, no, Joe's 2.
Yeah,
for right now, Joe's 2.
Yeah,
he might not be in 3 years.
Yeah,
he is 2 right now.
I don't have any qualms with that. This might be the last question, and it's a good one.
Because they're really quick. Because then if you're putting like, we're gonna argue like Terry Bradshaw or Mahomes, like what are we doing here? Then what I mean? What are we doing here?
Some people try the Peyton Manning argument. I just can't. I think he's top 5 probably. Manning,
yeah,
close. I mean, we're splitting hairs at this point. Okay, last question because I might need to. This might be a call to action for me. Dean Bishop said, "C. What is your favorite chair? What's your favorite chair?"
What's your favorite chair? It's funny. I don't even have a good answer for that.
Okay. Because if you had an answer, chair? I might have to go buy it.
The Iron Throne from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I can't. That's not going to be comfy. You're getting cuts on that thing.
What's your favorite HBO show?
Game of Thrones is up there. That show's crazy, bro. I didn't feel like the prequel was as good.
I like the first season of House of the Dragon. The second season was a waste of time.
The second season was, I think you said it. It was like a 8-episode trailer.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I just finished Sopranos.
Is that on HBO?
Yeah. Is
that your favorite?
I've never felt so into a world than I was rewatching The Sopranos. I loved it. I watched the documentary when it was over. I watched the movie when it was over. I went back and I rewatched season 1 because I just didn't want it to end. I loved Sopranos. Just the amount of characters that were in it. Watching Tony's growth over the show, his relationship, I loved it. I would
need to give it a chance.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of watching Entourage right now. It's obviously a very different kind of show, but it's fun. I liked Ballers. and I had never seen Entourage. I don't know. I've been like on a 2000s what I miss kick. I used to watch, I was watching Prison Break.
Yep.
Right before the new year, I was watching Prison Break.
That show's kind of cheesy, man.
I actually really liked Prison Break. But then
it got wild.
I felt like there was a moment that the show should have ended in season 2.
Once they broke out.
Exactly.
Like, bro, it should probably have been done.
Season 1 was them breaking out.
That was good.
Season 2 was them escaping the police. And then it was like, you've got the money, you're about to, and now it's like you shoot the cop to go back to jail. Like, why are you doing this? And now I got to watch a whole season of you in another prison that you're trying to figure out how to escape. At that moment, I was done. I didn't want to watch anymore. So I quit. I watched all of season 3 of Prison Break, and I watched the first episode of 4, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not watching this. I'm never watching this again.
My wife loved Prison Break, and she's like, we got to watch it. So we watched it. But yeah, when we got to like season 4, I was like,
this is stupid. Yeah, this is dumb.
At that point, I was too invested. I was like, all right, next one. Let's go. Like, I was just wanting to just get through it. It's fine.
This is stupid.
Well, guys, thanks so much, man. Everybody for hanging out. We still have 730 people in here. And it's 11.
I'll go to 11:30 if you want. If you're not going to sleep, I don't have nothing to do.
I'm not going to sleep, but I'm trying to honor your time.
I'm fine. I'm not doing nothing. All right. I'm really getting off at 11:30. We have
15-minute warning.
Yeah. That means I'll get home by midnight, which is fine.
Somebody said, where do you think Cole is in 5 years? But that's a wild question. Does Carrington believe in giving people the chair? Oh, now we're going insane.
I'm not answering that.
Now we're going insane.
You're trying to get me canceled. I don't got no comments on it.
Okay, Trey Smith or Nick Bolton if you had to pick one in free agency. I kind of know your answer, but
I think they're going to re-sign Trey Smith. This is what I would do.
Yes.
This is what I would do. If I am the Chiefs, I would reach a long-term extension with Joe Thuney before free agency starts. To know how much money we have. I would bring back Trey Smith. I think there's a world in which you can bring back Trey Smith. This is Jawan Taylor's last season with the Chiefs, and you cut bait at the end of the year.
Okay.
I think you end up doing that. I wouldn't bring Nick Bolton back for next. It's over.
You just draft another linebacker?
Yeah, I would just start the process over. I mean, you found Leo Chenal, you found Drew Tranquil. That's a position that you can find a capable veteran for a reasonable price.
Okay.
I would end up doing that. I wouldn't end up doing this until later in the offseason, but I would reach an extension with Trent McDuffie. I think he's one of the top 5 corners in the league.
Yeah.
And
that'd be the first DB you drafted since Eric Berry that you're signing to a second deal like that.
Yeah, and
that's a big deal.
Yeah, and I think he's proven whatever you need me to do, I can do. And he stayed really healthy while doing it too. I can play on the outside. I can play on the inside. I can get after the other team's quarterback. He starts to take the ball away in the second half of the season. I would keep Trent McDuffie.
Yeah.
That's probably what I would do. I'd re-sign Hollywood Brown.
I was going to say, what do you do about the wide receiver room? Because they're like all gone.
I wouldn't bring back DeAndre Hopkins for next year. I wouldn't bring him back. I would bring back Hollywood Brown. I'm sure there's some other moves they'll make, but I guess if I'm making a list off the top of my head, that's what the list would be. Yeah,
you took care of a couple big ones earlier. You got Creed locked up. You did Butker. So you say maybe Bolton walks. It's Trey Smith, he's going to be a lot.
Yeah, no, he absolutely
he's going to be like $22 million a year.
This now I'm thinking about the chair. This is the thing though about contracts that I don't think people factor in. I don't think the goal of every player is for you to sign them to a second deal. I don't think that.
Oh, for sure. You can't. It's impossible.
And I think though for some players, and I would say the Nick Bolton fits in this category, is the goal for Nick Bolton is I think what they will have done. We drafted you. We got you for 4 years, $4 million. Yeah. You played like a $17 million a year player.
Played great.
Now we're going to let you go get the $17 million and we're going to move on.
Yeah.
Charvarius Ward was undrafted. You brought him to the team.
Got a big deal.
He played incredible. Hey,
Sneed.
Go get your money. Start the process over again. So we obviously want to keep some players. You want to build that foundation and you want to have those guys on your team, but letting Nick Bolton go play for the Chicago Bears is not the worst thing that can happen. We appreciate everything that you've done. You have exceeded your rookie deal.
Yeah.
You got to have a great balance of having your core guys that you have and then rookie deals. How the Chiefs got back to this point is they got back to this point because for 2 drafts, they nailed it.
Yeah.
You nailed it with Isaiah Pacheco. You nailed it with Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams, Creed Humphrey, Nick Bolton. If you're going to draft 10 starters over a 2-year stretch on rookie contracts, you can have a really, really good roster. The Chiefs have a really good roster because of those 2 drafts where they did not miss for a stretch.
No, you're right. I'm trying to focus on what you're saying. Somebody said Cole brought out the practice squad chairs.
Somebody said, "See that you need to pee." No, I don't need to pee.
He looks so uncomfortable.
It's not comfortable.
All right, we're doing different chairs.
I don't have to pee. I'm actually really fine. But you know how it is when you've been sitting for one way and then you start moving in the chair just to start kind of like getting a good cushion.
I knew you were really uncomfortable. You started lifting your weight off the bottom.
Yeah.
He's like lifting his weight off the bottom.
This, I'm being serious. These are the chairs that wrestlers use. Look at the chair he got me
but
sitting
it's got
in,
padded. It's padded though.
Look at the chairs.
It's a padded chair.
This is the pad though.
It's a pad.
Look at the pad.
Look, that's padded.
Oh my goodness. Look at this.
That's pretty good.
No pad.
Hey, man, that's pretty
this
good.
For 2.5 hours. This is not comfortable. This is not comfy.
See, that's how you know I don't have a lot of guests because I have a nice chair, but I sit and stand every.
This is not comfy.
I sit and stand every 30 minutes. So, like, even during my live streams, I would stand this up and then stand for a while.
These are some WWE Hell in a Cell chairs you got us sitting.
They're saying to trade chairs. Guys, I have the same one.
He got the same.
I got the same one.
He got the same hardcore tag team champion title.
If CDOT was going to suffer, I was going to do it with him. That's all. They said trade chairs.
Nah, I don't want trade chairs. This chair is not comfortable.
Oh, man. Is that pad? That is a pad for someone with no cake. All right. Get your boy a...
Somebody said, how about those chairs? It's hilarious.
Get him a pad. Get him a butt pad.
How about those chairs? It's so...
Oh, no, bro. Steven with the 5 bomb said, put this toward a chair for your guests.
How about those chairs?
CDOT is done, bro.
That's funny. I'm sorry. How about those chairs is hilarious.
I feel like we got a new inside joke now, man. Randy said this is going viral. Nah, dude.
Oh my goodness.
I'll never have a guest again if this goes viral. They'll be like, I'm not going to sit in that chair.
How about those chairs is hilarious.
I'm going to have to look up comfortable podcast chairs or something.
I told you. These are WWE SmackDown chairs. These chairs they're bad. They're not good. I can't believe you work in these chairs.
I don't.
I can't believe
I have a different chair for my desk, but I was trying to get us to match so we were like same height, same placement. I have a chair in here that I sit in. It's an actual chair.
How about those chairs?
Bro, the sides of my head hurt, man, from laughing. You guys need a love seat? Nah, I'm good. Cole's face.
You need a futon.
Oh, my head got so red. Every time I laughed, they're like, your head's red. Like, thank you.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man. It's because I started laughing, bro. At this point, the chair can't be Nico Remigio anymore. It's fallen down the depth chart.
That's bad.
It's now Joshua Uche.
This chair's not starting. No,
it's Joshua Uche. It's done.
It's not starting. No, it's not.
Chair.
Not at all.
Cole, I don't know why I have back problems. I don't sit in this chair normally. All right.
I got to tie my shoe. I'll tie my
Does C-Dot know how to tie shoes? Oh, it's definitely Sky Moore. Oh, no. Okay, so question on that. He's under contract next year. Do they get rid of him in the offseason? Is he
Who?
Sky Moore?
No, I don't want to talk about him.
Okay, fair enough.
But we're heading into the playoffs, and you're asking questions about Sky Moore.
They're asking. So, but I'm like, surely he's not on the team next year. We were talking We were talking Trey Smith, Nick Bolton. We were talking a little bit of
Sky
future.
Moore is not free agency.
Well, no, but surely they're not keeping him around.
I don't know if Sky Moore would be the best wide receiver in the CFL. The chair football league. I don't know if he would be that in the chair league.
Dude, I wanted Sky to be good, man. He's so nice. Practices hard. Stays out of trouble. Like, dude, just being good on
Why are you talking about him like he's a kid that moved up from JV to varsity? A good kid, comes from a good family.
I don't know. I just wanted him to be...
Why are you describing him that way?
I just wanted it to work out. We needed wide receiver help so bad.
That is crazy, the way you were describing him.
I just wanted it to work out, man. And it didn't at all. I agree with C-Dot. Thinking about Sky Moore hurts me.
Yeah, I can't believe you guys want to talk about Sky Moore. That's crazy to me.
Bro, when Mark Andrews dropped that pass, the 2-point conversion.
Reminds you of Sky Moore? You got
no,
triggered.
Chat was starting to talk, and they said Sky Moore would have caught that pass.
No, like, okay. You got to block that person. If you said that, you got to block him.
They said Kadarius Toney would have caught that pass.
Okay. I felt so bad. I was watching the game with my mom, and, you know, she likes Lamar. And oh, man, I was so hurt.
That was awful, dude.
I was so hurt.
For the loss or just how it went down?
For Mark Andrews, I was hurt. For Lamar,
yeah,
I was hurt for all those things. I was torn. I was hurt. I really was. Oh, let me tell you a story about my mom. I think you'll like this.
Let's do it.
I think you'll like the story. I think some of you can identify with this. So I just recently changed my TV setup. I redecorated my apartment. I had like my good friends over, kind of show them the changes or whatever.
Yeah.
So the big kind of reveal was the Tyson-Jake Paul fight.
Oh, no.
So my mom comes over, and maybe like 10 of my friends are come over to the house.
Didn't even
we got
work.
Food, we got everything.
Didn't even
it was
work.
Great. So my mom comes over. My mom is so excited to watch Mike Tyson. They're around the same age. So she's like, oh, he gonna whoop up on that young dude. You're right. It did not work. Like the stream didn't work. But I went on meth streams and I got it to work.
Okay.
Watching somebody as their excitement over the fight just started to dissipate, went from he's winning this fight.
Nah, it was awful.
To then in like the 4th round pleading with Mike to like do something. And then in the 6th round, the acceptance of Mike ain't winning this fight. Mike's done.
That was awful.
He's done.
I watched it and couldn't believe what I was watching, dude. I was like, this is...
You couldn't believe what you were watching? You couldn't believe that the 20-something-year-old dude beat the 50-something-year-old dude?
No, I just couldn't believe that, like, I can't believe they did it. Like, he looked awful. He couldn't even walk up the ringside.
He looked old.
He looked like he couldn't even walk.
He looked like he had sat in this chair for 3 hours and then was like, hey, go fight.
Hey, we got you a new name, bro. Carrington Harrison.
Carrington.
Yes, dude. How about those chairs? We got Carrington.
Carrington. Yeah, you got to put that on. Carrington.
Bro, that's so good. We have some good jokes from this one.
Oh man, that's funny. All right, you know what? We'll do 5 more the final 5 questions. No, we're going to do 5 questions. And then I'm out of here. 5 questions. We'll do it and then I'm going home. 5 questions. So send your questions.
How about those? So somebody said the funniest part of the Tyson debacle was the sumo diaper. Bro, that was messed up. Why was he? Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that Marvin Harrison? What?
I don't know.
These are questions. I'm waiting for questions. Everyone's still cracking up, dude. I'm trying to find them.
Yeah, I'll answer 5 more final. This is the final 5. There will be no more extension.
KY Sports said, why are y'all just talking about the fight?
I was telling them a story about my mom.
We've been talking for 2.5 hours about football, dude. What's your favorite chair? He doesn't know.
No, I don't.
Another round of Tank 7? Nah.
I don't want any more. I'm going home after this.
Who's going to be the X factor in the Bills game? We kind of talked about that. We said Dalton Kincaid.
I like Dalton Kincaid, yeah.
For the Bills. For the Chiefs, he said D-Hop. I said Hollywood. On defense, you said GK? George Karlaftis?
Yeah, and DeMar Hamlin, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the DeMar Hamlin for the Bills. I said whoever covered Kelce last game, I think it's Bernard. And then Jalen Watson. Why do we have so many problems with 3rd and long? They have to be talking about defense. I think it was
both, honestly.
Okay, well, fair enough. But I mean, I think if you had to pick one, like the defense giving up all those 3rd and longs, is that a little bit of a cornerback stat, like Jalen Watson being out?
Yeah, I think it's that, and I think there was a stretch for a while where the Chiefs, they couldn't really get pressure with their front four. I think there's 2 versions of the Chiefs defense. It is before Charles Omenihu and after Charles Omenihu. They've been a drastically different defense since he has come back. There's just no question. It has revitalized everything they do defensively. So I think they're doing a really good job of getting off the field. I think they are much better equipped to slow down Josh Allen. Like if you're Buffalo, you know what Buffalo wants to do. Buffalo doesn't win this game if they don't establish James Cook and they don't establish Josh Allen. Like those 2 guys, between the 2 of them, they need to rush for about 125 yards or so. James Cook runs for 80 yards. Josh Allen runs for 50 yards, somewhere in that range. Like you need to get those 2 guys going. There's not really a scenario in which Buffalo wins if their offense is one-dimensional. Like let's say that Buffalo runs for, let's give them 22 carries for 51 yards. That's just not a game that Buffalo wins, in my opinion. That means Kansas City did a really good job of stopping them on big plays. They got off the field, and they largely contained Josh Allen, that he didn't run the football very effectively against you.
Who's going to spy Allen? They didn't really spy him last game.
No, they don't really spy like that.
So you don't really care?
No, I just think, it'll be a... But then, if you do that, I'm worried about Dalton Kincaid just having one play that hurts the Chiefs. We've seen too many games.
The tight ends, man.
Always. And it's not like Dalton Kincaid is going to have a catch over 25 yards. I know it. Like, it happens every time.
I think it was Mina Kimes. She said the Chiefs are 31st in success rate on defense when tight ends are targeted.
Oh, wow.
2nd worst in the NFL in success rate. The offense is tee off. So, but you didn't really need to know that stat to know that they struggled against tight ends.
No, they're not good at it. That's simple. They're really not good at it. I would say that's the thing they're the worst at on the team. Like if I had to say like what are the Chiefs, that is their least effective skill. They are not good at covering tight ends.
Do we miss Willie Gay?
I haven't thought about Willie Gay in a very long time. I haven't.
Some people were maybe saying his speed. Maybe you missed his speed.
I haven't thought about Willie. He signed a $3 million deal to play for the Saints. So if they really wanted him, he could have came back.
I know. All right, we got what? 2 more questions?
Yeah, 2 more.
Is Nick Wright going to be on Cole's channel tomorrow? Nick Wright has no idea who I am. So
he probably knows who you are.
Maybe.
I'll ask him tomorrow if he knows who you are.
Maybe he's seen a tweet or something. The bald guy. Bald guy.
He probably knows who you are.
Bald guy, red beard.
It's hard for me to get Nick on the show, and I was at his wedding.
I text Carrington one day because I had this epiphany in the offseason. I was like, man, what if I had Nick Wright on to talk Chiefs, even for like 10 minutes? So I texted him. I was like, how hard do you think it would be to get Nick Wright on the show? His response, 1 word, impossible.
No, you're not getting him on. I know
was like,
this.
all right.
You're not getting him on.
I was like, okay.
Nick comes on my show maybe 2-3 times a year. Like, I don't get Nick a whole lot. I don't ask either. Like,
yeah, I know.
At this point,
I
just
hate
kind
asking
of know.
people.
I just kind of know. And I just know, like, why am I randomly having Nick on in March? Like, no,
right.
That's not the time to ask. If I really wanted to come on, he would. But no, I save my request. I have it down now with Nick. I ask him 2 times a year. Whatever the biggest Chiefs game of the year is, and what the postseason. I save it 2 times. I don't use you any other time. So,
well, I can't wait to hear him on the show. Do you know what time?
5 o'clock. Call him tomorrow, 5 o'clock.
Love that. Yeah, they said, remember when they said it ended 11? Well, it was 10:45, then it was 11, then it was 11:30.
No, this is now, we're about to get out of here
and now it's 5
3
questions.
minutes. Yeah. 2-3 minutes.
Somebody said, who's our DC if Spags leaves?
I don't think Spags is
Yeah, I was like,
where is he going?
well, the Raiders or Jags, but they're not interested. They want
Raiders
they
are not
want
hiring Steve Spagnuolo. And the Jags are hiring the Buccaneers
Liam
coach.
Cohen, and then the Raiders. He's not going to the Raiders, right?
No.
God, he had 3 virtual interviews. He's not getting it.
I don't think he was. I had the stat. I have to pull it up. Spags and Josh McDaniels coached the same amount of games, and Josh McDaniels was better in his games than what Steve Spagnuolo was. He's just like, some people are not lead singers. You can be a great musician. You are just not a lead singer. I think Spags is maybe the best defensive coordinator in league history.
Yeah.
It's either, I mean, there's a small, like Buddy Ryan, Jim Johnson, like there's a conversation, but Spags is absolutely in that conversation. He tried to be a head coach. It didn't go very well that he was a head coach, and now he's 66 years old. I'm not hiring a 66-year-old to be my head coach, especially when I look at the coaches, like the more recent hires. Who are the coaches that have success? It's 40-something-year-old whiz kids. It's 37-year-old. I have been an offensive coordinator for 3 years. I was phenomenal. Like, look at the last 20 coaching hires that have happened. Look at the ones that have been successful. They're under 45 years old.
Yeah.
Hiring a 66-year-old person, I would say to do most jobs is not a really good idea. But to be your head coach, no, I'm not hiring you to do that.
We don't talk politics on here, but dude, can we get some younger people to run the country? I'm just...
You said that. I didn't say that. I want to point out, how about those Chiefs?
But it doesn't matter who actually won.
He said, how about those candidates? That's what you said.
Look at the ages of who's been running in general.
I didn't have any opinion on it. I don't have any opinion on it.
Absolutely insane.
I don't have any opinion on either one of them.
No, I don't really care. But you're saying like 66 is old. I'm like, the last guy in charge was 80-something, bro. Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Can I actually want to say one thing?
Yeah,
you want to know
ahead.
when I knew it was bad for Joe? When I knew it was bad?
Uh-oh.
There was that time where he was on the bicycle and he was standing up and he just fell out of nowhere. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, yo, I voted for him. I was thinking that to myself. I really was thinking that. Like, yo, I voted. You remember that? He was just, I've never seen a person fall that way before. There were 2 times.
No.
It was that time with the bicycle and then the time when he fell walking up the stairs. And I was like, bro, I can't believe I voted for this man.
Oh, no.
I got swindled is what I was thinking. This is terrible. I knew it was over.
I felt so, like that bike thing, I felt bad, but it was funny, but I felt bad. I was like, this is crazy.
Another time, I realized, I was like, yo, Joe's in trouble. It was that debate. And like, you could see Joe Biden buffering. He was buffering right in front of us. They were asking Joe a question, and he was just, y'all know how he looks. He just sits there and he's confused.
Oh, no.
And he just has that like blank look on his face. And I was like, bro, please stop. Stop, Joe. I knew it was over then at that point. I knew. That was right then and there.
We can't end on that. But
Joe
that was insane,
Joe was buffering.
I kind of brought it up, so it's on me.
Okay, well, I've been waiting to say that.
Those stories are
I'm
crazy,
telling you,
bro.
Joe was buffering.
Patrick with the
Pull up the, all right, before this one we get out of here. Can you pull up when he fell on the bike?
Yeah.
When he fell on the bike is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. The bike is crazy.
Oh, no, dude. Is it this?
Yes, yeah, look.
All right.
This all right, we really about to get out of here after this.
But hold on, before I pull that up, it said, is Grandma playing this Sunday against the Bills? Do you know who that is? Grandma? Is that like a name from your show?
I don't know who that is. Let's pull up the Joe.
Yeah. All right.
Pull up Joe.
Oh,
this is when I knew this is when I knew I made a terrible decision. I knew I shouldn't have voted. Look at this.
Why did they cut it, bro?
Why did he just fall out of nowhere? Look at it.
Bro.
Play it again.
Okay.
Play it again.
Carrington has me breaking my rules.
Look at this. Look.
His foot got caught,
How
bro.
did he fall?
His foot. Look, it's stuck in the thing. His foot's stuck.
How
Look.
did he fall? That person was our president.
No, dude, this is crazy, man.
Oh my goodness.
This is freaking crazy.
Pull up the time when he fell when he was walking up the stairs. You can't. He has a falling montage. You can't have a falling montage. Look at this. He has an and one mixtape of falling. We let this person be the president. This is crazy to me. Look, he's just walking up regular.
He's not doing well.
No, that's not when he falls.
Oh,
You
that's
gotta
just walking
pull the
up.
one when he falls.
Oh,
He just falls
All right,
one of these times.
all right.
Hold on.
bro, I'm sorry. I was waiting for him.
He just falls out of nowhere. Here it goes.
Oh,
Here it goes.
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
This is
I'm
insane that we're
telling you,
watching
this.
this,
Is
bro.
what I knew.
This is insane that
This is
we're
when I
watching
knew
this.
something was off. He fell multiple times. He fell multiple times.
I mean, it's kind of
Oh
sad,
my
bro.
goodness.
It's kind of sad, man.
He gonna fall again. Watch.
Again? Nah, he made it. He's good. He fixed it.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, Carrington is
Play
on
it one more time.
One more time.
Look, he falls and then he collects himself and then falls a second time. Look. Oh,
A third too, though.
I'm sorry. It's so funny. I really do feel bad. I'm sorry. It was funny.
Bro, this is
That
how
was
you know
funny.
we've been streaming too long.
Oh my goodness.
We just pulled up fail compilations on the former president on a channel where I don't talk politics, but that was great.
I didn't say anything about it.
No, we
the
didn't
man
really
just
give-
kept falling.
we didn't give a
was,
political
it wasn't
take, but-
funny. It was funny to me.
Man, we went from talking about Mike Tyson to Spags. We went from Spags to that. That was crazy, man. Respect his highlight tape, said TBB.
All right.
Ray said it's sad that you laugh at an old man. It's over.
No, it is over.
It's over, man.
It is over.
Oh, God bless, dude. It's like,
That was worth it to me. This whole thing was worth it for the end. It was funny. I enjoyed it.
Benjamin said, y'all need to hop off. I'm like sober, dude. I had one beer.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm sorry. That was funny.
He said
That was-
nobody's as drunk as you guys.
that was worth it to me. The whole stream was worth it to watch. I hadn't seen those two videos in such a long time. They were worth it to me.
Yeah, we're getting out of here.
Thank you so much for watching this. I'm so appreciative.
Dean said, let him take the chair.
I don't want this chair.
Yeah, bro.
I don't want this chair around me.
Dude, you keep
I
in the
never
chair,
want to
bro.
see this chair again.
Dude, Carrington's on one, man. Oh, my. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those chairs?